Chowda, Regional Medical Advisor from Shield Healthcare. It's my privilege to welcome you for this wonderful series, Trending Us series, which is organized by AGOG, Academia of Global Obstetrics and Gynecology on Shield Connect platform. So, in this task series, we will be covering the topic from A to Z topics. And today, the episode will cover M topic, that is midlife and medico legal related topics. So before we start with the series, let me show the short introductory video for AGOG. And now let us start with small Vandana prayer.
वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा।
I am happy to introduce the coordinator for today's episode, Dr. Tanushri Pandey. Ma'am is obstetrician and gynecologist, laparoscopic surgeon, IVF specialist at Dr. Padgaokar's clinic in Sion, Mumbai. And I'm glad to hand over this session to Dr. Tanushri Pandey, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nishant. It's an absolute honor to be a part of such an educational program and this wonderful task series, which has been convened by none other than Dr. Komal Chavan, ma'am herself. Ma'am is the convener for today's program, and it's only because of ma'am's zeal and determination that we are being involved in this and are being able to learn and appreciate all of the efforts that ma'am is doing. Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving me an opportunity. Dr. Komal Niranjan Chavan, ma'am, is the medical director at Chavan Maternity and Nursing Home. Ma'am is a senior consultant and is attached to multiple hospitals in Mumbai. Ma'am is also the chairperson Foxy Medical Disorders in Pregnancy, member of the Managing Council of MOGS, and the list goes on. Ma'am has many awards to her credit, such as the Foxy Mr. N.A. Pandit and Mrs. Shaileja Pandit Women's Empowerment Award, so on and so forth. The list is endless. We welcome you, ma'am. Our co-convener for today is Dr. Niranjan Chavan, sir. Sir has also always been the guiding light, and sir is always pushing us youngsters to participate in such programs and learn from sir and ma'am. Sir was the ex-president of MOGS, joint treasurer of Foxy, professor and the unit chief in Sion Hospital, Mumbai. Sir is the national coordinator of Foxy Medical Disorders. Sir's list also is endless. Many awards to his credit. I welcome sir and ma'am both to this. Also, I request Dr. Komal Chavan ma'am to take it forward and welcome our chief guest for today. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, dear Tanushri. And Tanushri has been a very dynamic person, doing very good in Mumbai Obstetrics and Gynec Society. And I welcome all of you to the Trending Ask the Expert series along with AGOG. And AGOG is an association formed with all the gynecologists, specifically by Dr. Purandare was there way back in 2019. And we are also doing a lot of academic work as in journal and everything is all going on. And today's episode is the episode M, which focuses on midlife and medical legal aspects in obstetrics and gynec. And M, midlife, and I am in also M also is the middle of A to Z. So I'm also in the middle of my series. So that is also a coincidence that we are all here in the midway. And today we all welcome all our dignitaries and luminaries who have joined. We have our chief guest, Dr. Suchitra Pandit. I welcome her. I welcome our guest of honors, Dr. Mandakini Meg Pushpa Sethi, senior Dr. Maninder Ahuja. I'm so happy and fortunate Dr. Maninder Ahuja, madam has joined along with Dr. Nagargatti, Dr. Ratnapalli Chakrabarti, madam, Dr. Rajnikant Contractor sir, he's joined here, Dr. Shaijas, our speaker, Dr. Anju Soni, and so many others who would be joining all the faculties in the due course. And now I would welcome Dr. Suchitra Pandit Madam. Suchitra Pandit Madam, we all know she's such a great teacher, and we are at a hardcore academician. We admire her all the time, and she had been my teacher also at Sion Hospital, and I can proudly say that. And being in Lokmanya Tilak Medical Municipal College, I have been fortunate to learn from her so many things. She's PG teacher for the last 34 years for MD, DNP, DGO, and MRCOG. Also, she has made us proud, the Mumbai proud, after her MOJ's presidentship. She has been the proxy president, president of Gestrosis India Association, president of ISOPAR, and I'm now closely working with her in the Mumbai ISOPAR chapter. Madam has got so many applauds worldwide, including the FIGO Award, Dr. Gurusha Award, MOGS Awards, and I have been fortunate to receive recently an award which she has initiated on the name of her parents. So over to you, madam. We are all waiting eagerly to hear from you.
Thank you so much, Komal and Niranjan, I should say. And I was just asking what ASK means. Whether it is just ask for ask, or is it something? She said no, it's ask the expert. So great, you have initiated this series and to go through it with interesting topics, and you're trying to line up those topics with the alphabets. I think that's a nice idea also. And what is very, very important is, when you're choosing topics which are topical. Menopause is something, everybody enters that age some or the other time. And I'm glad that you've taken up, that very important topic of midlife. What exactly happens in midlife? What matters? And you have Shaita is going to be speaking on that. And again, you have Ratnabali who's going to be talking about the current trends in MHT, and of course, medical legal issues, always important. Every aspect of OBGYN, we have medical legal issues. So you have Manish Machwe with the expert MC Patel doing that. But what is very, very nice is today, I just feel like I'm on a holiday, because I see Komal dressed up in a, beautiful red color. And at the same time, my, chairperson, Dr. Mandakini Meg, who's also sitting nicely, pretty amongst a lot of accolades behind and lots of greenery. And of course, Pushpa Sethi, old friend. And, it's fun to see everybody on this particular platform. And I'm very sure, Kumal, this series is very, very popular. Good timing, 5 to 7. And it's good for people to catch up for their subjects as well as different subjects. And I would suggest that make sure that the postgraduates also attend it, because they would also benefit from what the experts have to say. And you have so many of them today. You have people associate with the chairperson of midlife, but also with the menopause. You have Anju Soni there, sitting there as secretary of the the Indian Menopause Society. So all important people. And Maninder is one of the youthful icons of menopause. So well chosen, and all the best, Komal, for your. I'm not at all having any doubts about your victory as a vice president. I'm sure you'll do very well. And I've seen Komal grow up from the first year residency right into her postgraduate. And I told her, Komal, I've now seen you're maturing, and I like to listen to what you have to say. So great, Komal, keep it going. And thanks, Niranjan. I'm not seeing him there, but congratulations to both of you. And I'll hand over the the reins of the voice now to you. But thank you very much.
Chitra, I will like your best wishes also.
Yes, of course. Dr. Mandakini Meg is also sitting there. All the best for your presidential campaign. I think these two candidates are from Mumbai, and they deserve a lot of support from everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Suchitra madam. It is always so encouraging to hear all these words from you, and you have always been encouraging the young people, and always, right from the day I know you, like always you have been encouraging the residents. You have been so kind and so empathetic towards everybody. I really admire that quality of you. Thank you so much, madam. And now I welcome our guest of honor, Dr. Mandakini Meg. Dr. Mandakini Meg, we all know she has made us all proud as a chair of ICOG. She has done wonderful work in her tenure. She's currently the international president of medical women in India, and she was a Foxy Vice President in 2012-13, and past President of Indian Federation of Ultrasound in Medicine and Biology, past Dean of Indian College of Medical Ultrasound. She has a good license with our government and the ministry, and she has been in charge of the family welfare, RCH, PCP, NDT, MTP, and other committees along with the government. She received numerous awards, the Mahila Gaurav Puraskar from Government of Maharashtra and Best Super Achiever Award. So many awards, and Shikshan, Maharishi, Vidya Shiromani, and Vidya Vibhushan. I think really, I have really honored, Madam, by your presence, and over to you to kindly address our audience.
Komal, one thing I'd like to add, that apart from all these accolades that she has an excellent sense of humor. So you must listen to what she has to say, because she says it with a twist of wit in it.
Thank you very much, Komal, for that wonderful introduction. And at the outset, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of the founder of the Shailaja Pandit Award, and I'm extremely honored, Suchitra, that I have received that award. Apart from that, other awards for the population stabilization, contraception, and I think early years when you started, in first 1 or 2 years only, you thought me as the recipient of this prestigious. So thank you very much. So Komal, I think midlife I was very worried when I met Komal, A to Z, how you are going to complete, how many subjects you are going to find out with that words. And suddenly I think she is at the aim. And you chosen me very correctly. I am Mandakini, Meg. So doubly I am here, supposed to be here, and I am here. So very, very good initiative, great initiative. I think I can see who's who of midlife, who's who of medical legal. I can't name the Shaidas. My other Mendy, there are 2 Mendys.
Mendys, yeah.
So this I used to say previously when I was in government and all these things, they used to call madam. Then later on, they started calling me Mandakini. And now they call me Mandy. So this is all the efforts of our Manjit and also our late Mandakini Pariyar. So there used to be 3 Mandys, now there are 2 Mandys. Yeah. So thank you very much. And second thing, Komal, I think your series is becoming extremely popular because of the subject, thoughtful subjects. And you have, and Niranjan have that capacity to bring everyone together. I think, and you can see the cream of the people. I can see Pushpa, my guest of honor, Pushpa, hi, my dancing partner at the ship. And good, the ship was not sinking. It is not become Titanic. We were dancing in the ship at the Rio thing, and it has not sunk. And I can see Anju, I can see Dr. Rajni Contractor, Rajendra Nagar Katti, great team. I think I can't name everyone. And I think the most important thing which I really want to mention here, you have the lineup scientific program, but the recent study which has come up, they say actually the most beneficial, most productive years are from 60 to 70 years is the most productive year. And I was about to post, somebody will mind it. So the most productive year of the woman is not only women, it may be the male, and it is from 60 onwards, because by that time you achieve everything, as Suchitra has said correctly, because you become mature, and we reach to the peak of our understanding, maturity, and I think experience. I think so it is the best time to actually even venture into. So many people are doing PhDs, people are starting their, so many other activities, and they are achieving it very, very successfully. So I think with this seminar and other topics which you are going to discuss, it will be a great, great help to all of the women and the medical fraternity, OBGYN. And I wish you all the best, Komal. And as Suchitra has said, we both are Bombay candidates. So we really appeal to the people that I have helped so many people in the, in the government, PCPNDT, MTP registration. I'm still working. Today morning also one of the candidate, I gave her the registration because she was not getting in from South Bombay. And the quest continues. So with this, I think I really, appeal to everyone to please vote for both of us in the coming Foxy and make us the, the president of Foxy. Thank you very much for inviting me for this wonderful webinar. Komal, thank you. And Suchitra, a great thank you to you also.
Thank you so much, Mandakini Meg Madam, and really I'm so honored with presence of two Mandis, Dr. Mandakini Meg and Dr. Maninder Ahuja. And I think a webinar of midlife cannot be complete without the presence of Maninder Ahuja. And she was so busy, but I am so happy that she has finally been a part, and she is actually the part of the webinar right now. So now I welcome Dr. Pushpa Sethi, and I have been really fond of Dr. Pushpa Sethi right from the beginning. She has just a charming and a charismatic smile. She always is so good. With a very good heart, and we always bond so well whenever we meet. And currently, she is a president of the Indian Menopause Society, a senior practicing OBGYN at Gurgaon, and director of the Sethi Hospital. She's organized numerous conferences. So many. At Gurgaon OBGYN, at IMA, and at Rotary, delivered several orations, keynote address, lectures nationally, internationally, written so many chapters, and she is also keen of social work. A really great person. I think she has worked in all aspects, and that is how we describe a complete person. So over to you, Dr. Pushpa Sethi, Madam, to address the audience.
Thank you so much, Komal, and the onset. And I must tell you that I have been very fond of you, Niranjan, always. In my Foxy days, I used to really admire you as a couple, as enthusiastic academicians, as workers of Foxy, and as young colleagues of mine. So, and the midlife subject you have chosen today, it is the most important thing on the horizon now, because we spend a lot of our years in those midlife, post-menopausal years, which need to be healthy. And as national president of the IMS, I have been going from society to society, talking on MHT. We want all our people to write MHT, to use MHT, not to shy away from it as and when it is required. It is really very important. We are in fact coming out with a, something like on the lines of Foxy Focus. We are coming out with a clinical update on MHT, which is being taken care of by Dr. Meeta, myself, and Dr. Agni. And so a lot of work I'm trying to do this year on MHT. So I'm really happy to see that my president, when I was Secretary General in IMS, Dr. Ratnapalli was my president, and she'll be talking on an update on MHT. And I, as the past chairperson of Midlife Management Committee, Foxy, I am really proud to see that it is doing so well in the hands of first Dr. Nagarkatti and now Dr. Shaijas, and mostly, most of the times I try to attend their programs, and I feel really proud that they have been doing excellent work. And Dr. Maninder, of course, she was the chairperson before me. So we are a lineup of past chairpersons of Midlife Management Committee, Foxy. And of course, when you talk of medical legal issues, the more you talk, the less it is. I think we all need to be very, very updated on that. So I'm really thankful for being here. Thanks for calling me here. And I'm looking forward to all the very, very important topics that you have lined up today. Thank you so much, Komal.
Thank you so much, Madam. And I thank from bottom of my heart, Dr. Suchitra Pandit, Madam, Dr. Mandakini Meg, Dr. Pushpa Sethi, for being here at the inauguration of this wonderful webinar, which we are going to have on midlife and medical legal aspects. So I hand over to Dr. Tanushri to carry on the further proceedings.
Thank you so much, all my lovely seniors and ma'ams. Yes, today's topic on midlife and aging gracefully, which is our first topic of session 1 of menopause, and looking at everyone who's aged so gracefully, not just physically but mentally. I am sitting with a bunch of role models here, so thank you so much. And we move on to our first session, which is on midlife and aging gracefully, and our chairpersons for today, none other than Dr. Maninder Ahuja ma'am. Ma'am is the President Society of Meaningful Life Management. She's also the director of Ahuja Healthcare, Dental and Infertility. She has 40 years of dedicated work for women from adolescent to menopause. She's also been the Vice President Foxy and President Indian Menopause Society. Many publications to herself, books, and also authored step-by-step management of menopause. We welcome you, ma'am. Our second chairperson for our session today is Dr. Rajendra Nagarkatti, sir. Sir is the chairperson Foxy Midlife Management Committee. He is a renowned gynecologist and obstetrician of Ashirwad Maternity Hospital in Mumbai, former lecturer in Sion Hospital, 38 years of experience, and specializes in infertility, IVF, and high-risk pregnancy. We welcome you, sir and ma'am. Is ma'am here? The first topic, Maninder ma'am,
Yeah.
are you here? Yeah, ma'am, the first topic today is midlife and aging, and Dr. Shaijas Nair will be giving the speech, ma'am. So if you could please welcome.
Yeah, so I think first of all, I must say thank you to all the organizers for this wonderful series of A to Z and Ask. Komal, you have been doing wonderful work, and Niranjan and Komal has been very, near to me, being distant. But they converted this distance to near by standing their webinar series. I had a dream of going digital, and he made it possible. So Niranjan, thank you very much for that. Now, thank you, Suchitra, for being there. It's nice to see her here because my first journey of Foxy was with her only when we had gone to Leh. I think she has left or she's there. And then, as far as the midlife is concerned, I had joined as the chairperson of geriatrics committee, and I got it changed to midlife management committee because we don't deal with the geriatrics. So naturally, I gave all the guidelines and everything, and perhaps tried to give him it a life. But that baby was carried forward by Pushpa, by Nagarkati, and now Shaijas. So it's nice to be chairing his session because I know that he is going to carry this thought forward. The other topics are going to be really very interesting. I'll be there till the end and listening to each and everybody, including our medical legal cases and Dr. Ratnabali. After a long time, I think through webinars only, I'll be able to listen to her. So thank you, Komal Chavan. And Dr. Mandakini Meg, we are of course Mandy's, two Mandys. The one has left us anyway, but she was a wonderful Mandy. And I wish you best, both you and Komal Chavan. You have been doing wonderful work, and that work should be appreciated. So what you people have done for Foxy cannot be described in the words only. Now my duty to introduce subject, and I just Nair. Subject is, of course, all of you know, is very passionate about, but it is controversial. But the things which are coming in a new way and which have the way forward, a lot of way to travel forward, and lots of controversies will be there. So it's always a controversial, whether it's a freedom for the women or there are some problems or there can be some complication. So there is always a mixture of all of that. Kuch khatta, kuch meeta. I think that is what the midlife is, kuch khatta, kuch meeta. But we have to take some preventive measures, which Shaijas will be talking on, because he talks beautifully and in a very wonderful way, where it's pleasing to each and everybody to listen to. So he is now the chairperson of Midlife Management Committee, and proud of you, Shaijas, the way you are going. And he was the Joint Secretary of Kerala Federation of Obstetrician and Gynecologists, past chair Research Committee of KFOG, and President Canamore Obstetric Gynae Society, fertility specialist. So you can find him anywhere. But the three places where we three people are common, Mandakini, me, Shaijas, and of course Pushpa, and all of us now, because we have made it very popular, is the dance form, because that is considered the best form of exercise now and for the relaxation also. So
many awards to Shaidas, but I think to cutting it short, Foxy International Traveling
Sure.
Fellowship Award,
Madam,
Foxy
that should be okay.
Award, Sadhana Desai Population Stabilizer Award.
Madam, that should be okay. Thank you.
You have a one style separate now for your awards and then say, please read it. So you over Shaidas, because I don't want to take your time of talk at least. So you.
Thank you. Shall I get started?
Yeah, please.
Thank you.
Let's take a picture. Yes.
I hope my slides are visible and I'm audible.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. I bring greetings from Foxy, headed by the vibrant President, Dr. Rishikesh Pai, Dr. Madhuri Patel, the Secretary General, my committee in charge, Vice President, Dr. Yashodhara Pradeep. I also bring greetings from the northern tip of Kerala, the Cananur ONG Society, a group of almost 130 plus gynecologists doing some tremendous amount of work, not just on the academic front, but on the non-academic front and the social work too. I also bring greetings from the Kerala Federation, about which you all know. Now, today we're talking about something interesting, which is about midlife and aging gracefully. If you ask me how do I want to age, I probably at the age of 60, I want to dance like our dear uncle who got viral on the social media platforms. I hope I can keep doing that, because as Manindar Madam rightly suggested, it is such a fantastic phase of life, and hope we can bring more life into it. As I always call, adding more life to midlife is what we have always aimed at. Such a pleasure. Thank you so much, Komal Madam, as well as Niranjan Chavan sir, for this big opportunity to be a part of this wonderful series. Thank you so much to the chief guest, Dr. Sujitra Pandit Madam, for all the good words, Mandagini Beg Madam, as well as Dr. Pushpa Sethi Madam, and Maninder Madam and Rajendra sir are mentor-like figures for me as far as this midlife management committee is concerned. Such a pleasure that you have with me. And I think if I originally had 2 wings, I feel that I have 4 now with you two along with me, and I'm sure that we are going to fly higher, and we're going to take this committee higher, and midlife and this entity called adding more life to midlife would become the talk of the town very soon. Now, for those of you who do not really know what midlife is all about, it has traditionally been defined as age of 40 to 60, but these days definitions are changing. And they feel that it is not just about one particular age at which midlife starts. It can start anywhere between 35 and 40. It can go on to any age around 60 or 65. It just depends on when is that time period in your life where you tend to get involved in too many roles. People in midlife between 40 and 60 are sandwiched between 2 other generations. One is their children who would have grown up to teens or even younger or older. And on the other side, you have the elder generation, which is the geriatric population. And we feel that people in midlife are getting sandwiched between these 2 generations on either side, trying to absorb all their problems. Your teenage children have the teenage tantrums. Old age people have their own health related problems. And you in midlife are trying to manage all this. Absorb all this, I would say. That's why it's almost like being a shock absorber for the vehicle called life. So you go through the grind in midlife to ensure that the drive is safe and good and enjoyable for the generations on either side. So that's something which I always love to say at the beginning of the lecture. Now, the topic is midlife and aging gracefully. Now, the topics which I'm going to touch upon is, can I plan for midlife health and happiness? Is there a strategy in place to age gracefully? And is there a preparatory process involved? Now, this is a typical woman in midlife, who's attempting balancing all aspects of life trying to fill in various roles. It seems on an average, she fills in almost 3 to 4 roles, sometimes maybe up to 8: mother, daughter, daughter-in-law, wife, teacher, finance manager, and a major head of the household. Irrespective of whether you're religious or not, the closest comparison would be to Lord Durga. That's the kind of multitasking that women do in midlife. It actually applies to men too, who do it to an extent, but typically we are trying to explain it on a woman's perspective. A typical midlife person is actually searching for balance amidst a loss of stressing factors. And we're going to discuss generally under changing family relationships, balancing between her work and personal life, at the same time not getting lost by herself and then rediscovering herself, securing enough amount of resources, and coping with multiple co-occurring stresses. But remember, be noted, something like somebody neglects his or her personal hygiene, if there are dramatic changes in sleep habits, if there is significant weight loss or weight gain, and if there are pronounced changes in mood like increased anger, irritability, or sadness or anxiety, I think you should address that, because that might be early symptoms where the person is going into a crisis, what we call as a midlife crisis. As we generally say, if we look at this entity, if you search this word called midlife, the first suggestion that comes is midlife crisis. We hope and pray that at the end of all the awareness sessions that we are doing, the most commonly the most common suggestion that is attached to midlife would become midlife happiness rather than a midlife crisis. Now, there is something called a U-curve of happiness, which is basically based on a research conducted by the Dartmouth professor David Blanchflower on hundreds of thousands of people in 132 countries. It showed an inverted U-shaped happiness curve. That means people were very happy when they were young. They were also happy when they were very old, and their happiness hit a rock bottom. That's the lowest level when they were in midlife. You may agree or may not agree with the U-curve of happiness, depending on whether you are happy in midlife or not. But the incidence that is stated in the United States is somewhere around 26%. That is almost 1 in 4 individuals is suffering from a midlife crisis or a lack of happiness in midlife. Now, in India, for the time being, we do not have concrete data on this. And I hope the Midlife Management Committee and the Menopause Society can join hands and bring out some wonderful data regarding the happiness levels. Now, a happy life versus a stressful midlife. People between 40 and 60 were asked to what age you would like to be if you had an option. And most people wanted to be somewhere in their 30s, because that's when they were happiest. And people did not want to get either too young or too old, because that had its own problems. So all this kind of tendency that is shown when a survey is conducted basically depends on how we project ourselves, how our individuals get projected in the media. And though we generally say that we all love to be young, there is something called an old age boost. That means when you get older, there are a lot of good things that happen in your body. Stress tends to decline because there are fewer stressing factors. There is much less that is expected from you when you actually grow old. And because of that, your emotional regulation improves. There are less intense emotions. There are less negative feedbacks. And there is a tendency to detach from a situation. Old people tend to walk away when there is too much of confusion regarding a scenario. Okay. And older people have less regret. And this has been primarily explained by certain very distinct brain activity patterns that are seen in old age, and they seem to be less depression prone. Now, how to move towards some good happiness in midlife? To an extent, we need to normalize it. We need to understand that you might stop blaming yourselves, and you will learn to accept others around you. And you definitely need to stop berating yourself on how you feel. Now, internal critic, very important. Okay. Now, when you're growing up, this internal critic is so very important for you, because you need to dream big. You need to do that introspection with the help of this internal critic, and that helps you to move forward. But the same internal critic, when you reach midlife, it is that point of time when this internal critic becomes a villain of your life. Okay. And that's because you tend to compare yourself with another midlife person, and then you feel that you're probably not worth it. So this comparison is a very important thing that makes life difficult in midlife. So you should definitely stop comparing your achievements with others and stop berating yourself. and telling yourself every morning that I don't have to be better than anyone else. Life is not a rat race. Okay. And that particular point can help you reach midlife happiness a bit more better. Okay, now you need to stay at present. There are a lot of mindful meditation, stretching exercises, or workouts, or dancing, or whatever you want to do to keep your mind happy. That definitely helps you to age gracefully. And definitely do not hesitate to share your pain with others. People feel that their self-projected image gets spoiled if I share my pain with somebody else. But you should definitely have a close group of family members or close friends whom you can share your sorrow with. And that definitely helps in midlife to actually move forward slightly more better. Take small steps and don't make a leap. You can make some small transitions. You can follow the passionate things that you love to do and slowly make a shift and avoid the boredom which some people have towards their professional work or personal life. That can be avoided, and that will help you move towards midlife happiness. Okay, fine. Now, taking care of mental health is the primary thing that helps you to age gracefully. Number 2 is to be kind to your skin, because you're all worried about wrinkles and the skin changes that happen. Some simple tips: wearing a sunscreen, wearing a protective clothing when you're outside, especially in this peak summer, sticking to some very gentle products which doesn't damage your skin, and staying hydrated are the tips to maintain your skin. Okay, so you've taken care of mental health, you're taking care of skin. Okay, 2 steps tackled. Now go and find some new hobbies. Okay, you can be a massive multitasker, and definitely if you follow things that follows your passion, that's a very wonderful way to keep yourselves happy and to age gracefully. So you should try to engage in new hobbies, learn of such kind of innovative courses that are available everywhere around the world, which you can even do online. And these are things to keep your mind engaged, and you'll be much more happy. Then comes to physical health. Okay, there are 2 important questions that need to be addressed: what do you eat and how physically active you are. There are various forms of diet that is available. One is a keto diet, which is a relatively carbohydrate restricted or a nil carbohydrate diet, which came with a ban, but I should say it went into disrepute because of a lot of problems, including acute cardiac events that can happen, even renal failure that this keto diet can induce. So not considered to be a very recommended diet. Number 2 is a balanced diet, which has stood the test of time, I would say. And the most popular kind of balanced diet that we have today is named as a Mediterranean diet. I would be talking a little bit on that. And then would be the calorie restricted diet. Okay. Now, the role of calorie restriction in achieving weight loss has been unequivocally proved. If you look at the obesity guidelines, any man or a woman in midlife with a moderate amount of activity just requires around 1,500 kilocalories per day. If you eat that much, you are achieving a calorie deficit of around 500 to 750 kilocalories per day. And with some workout, which can actually burn around some 350 to 400 kilocalories, you can achieve a weight loss of almost 0.5 to 0.75 kilogram per week. And that will be 2 to 3 kg per month. And that's the ideal rate at which you can lose weight without causing any hormonal imbalances. Now, one innovative way of doing calorie restriction is something called intermittent energy restriction or an intermittent fasting, which is the term which is very popularly used. Fine. Now, intermittent fasting is basically very simple. You primarily eat in an 8-hour window. You can have 2 or 3 meals within that time. And the next 16 hours, you are actually fasting. Fasting only on plain fluids as well as some low-calorie drinks if you require. So eating in an 8-hour window and fasting hurting your body. It is shown to improve fasting insulin levels, and thereby metabolically, it might actually help your body well. Now, if you look at the Mediterranean diet, this is the pyramid that should be there in your mind. It's a balanced diet, something which is very good for a maintenance diet after you have achieved weight loss. Now, it's a very simple pyramid. At the base of the pyramid, you will see those things that you can eat daily and those things that you need to do daily. That is all kinds of physical activities, including dancing, sitting together, having a good time with your family, and all that is there to maintain your physical and mental health. And then the rainbow colored fruits and vegetables, which are very, very good for the body, according to the traditional norms of a balanced diet. As you go towards the peak of this pyramid, you will find things which you should be eating less often. And they will be the high calorie content diets, which includes red meat too, okay, which you should be eating less often. Okay, fine. Now, as Hippocrates said, let thy food be thy medicine. And I would say something which is very favorite. My favorite quote would be, eat just to fuel your body, never to feed your emotions. And as I always say, your mental health and physical health are so very closely related. If you're not feeling well, that is the time when you tend to eat junk. So a kitchen should be the last place where you should go if you are actually not feeling well. So take care of your mental health well. And if your mental health is taken care of well, you will not eat junk, and then you can achieve weight loss much more easier. Now the exercise part. The only muscles that are unfortunately working these days are the ones which are at the fingertips. We know that, the mobile, the laptop and all that. And the ones which take the food from the container to your oral cavity. And unfortunately, the only weight that we are bearing is our own body weight. If you look at the World Health Organization report of 2014, you'll find that almost 6 million people die every year of tobacco usage and 3.3 million die of alcohol abuse. We know that these two are killer diseases or killer habits, isn't it? And now, if you go on with this report, you'll find that another 3.3 million die because they are physically inactive, and 1.7 million people die every year because they are on a faulty diet, eating too much of salt.
What is it
just
about?
imagine that you will have to take care of physical inactivity and a bad diet as you are looking at a tobacco or an alcohol abuse, because all four are killers, killing significant number of women and men.
Medical research, what?
Can you mute whoever's talking? Thank you so much. Yeah. Now, as far as physical activity is concerned, you need to plan a comprehensive exercise program, which should contain aerobics, which is very, very important, and which is basically takes care of your cardiorespiratory endurance. But many times we just prescribe a 30-minute walk and we feel that is good enough in midlife, which is not. Now, other than aerobics, what you need to take care are a few other headings. One, endurance training. Now, in very simple words, for people who are fond of working out in the gym or at home, if you have a 2 kg dumbbell and if you're doing a biceps curls, okay, you take a 2 kg dumbbell and you do a biceps curls till you get fatigued, then you're working on your endurance. Okay, and now instead of that 2 kg dumbbell, if you take a 5 kg dumbbell and do it for 8 repeats and you stop, you are primarily working on your resistance or strength, and all are very, very important for you. Other than that, very important is to take care of flexibility exercises, posture maintaining exercises, and balance exercises. All these are so very important. It might look like just alternative English words for a person who's not a fitness freak, but for a personal trainer or a fitness enthusiast, these are a distinct set of exercises. And all these put together avoids that dreaded event that you want to avoid in midlife, and that is a fall. For both a man and a woman, the most dreaded event that can happen in midlife is a fall, because your bones are much more likely to break. So you take care of exercises on these headings, and then you're taking care of your health very well. Now, just telling every man and woman to walk for 30 minutes might not be good enough. I'm sure that all of you have patients who have been walking 30 minutes per day for almost 30 years, but haven't even lost 30 grams. So that's so very important for you to take care of that, because if you really want to lose weight, then you should be doing more. Now, 30 minutes per day can be good enough to ensure that you're fit and to reduce the risk of a chronic disease from happening. 60 minutes per day is actually what is required to prevent weight gain, and you require almost 90 minutes of workout per day to achieve weight loss. Okay, so you need to update your recommendations, as well as the advice to your patients need to be modified accordingly. How much intensity to work out? We have been hearing of people dying after a marathon, people dying in badminton courts, and people dying in the gym. Okay. Now, why does that happen? This primarily happens for what we call as late beginners, who have not been used to any physical activity whole throughout their life, and suddenly listen to a lecture like this or listen to a motivational talk and go to the gym and go through a very tough schedule of workout the very next day morning. That's definitely not recommended. Now, for late beginners especially, you need to be concerned about something called a maximal heart rate. Now, what is a maximal heart rate? Maximal heart rate is nothing but 220 minus your age in years. Okay, that means if you are aged 40, 220 minus 40 would be 180. 180 is your maximal heart rate. Now remember that whenever your heart rate crosses workout, your body is actually working out. Okay, and as we get closer and closer towards the maximal heart rate of 180, that is when you have a likelihood of an acute cardiac event from happening during a workout and dying. So if you have a fitness band like the one that I have or a smartwatch, if you feed in your data well, it will actually tell you, give you an alarm when you are reaching closer and closer towards maximal heart rate. Okay, so that is the way to avoid an acute cardiac event, especially for a late beginner. And then how much to walk and how much to work out? Around 10,000 steps per day on a pedometer burns around 350 to 400 calories, which is very, very supportive for you to lose weight. Now, it has been my journey also. And this picture is projected not to boast of my achievement, but as I always say, on top, you can see me in my 30s, reasonably very obese, and now I am 60 now I'm almost 16 kg down, and that's me in my 40s. So, and I can understand the amount of adrenaline rush that I have, the good energy that I have when compared to what I had maybe some 10 to 15 years back. Okay, so if I can do it, so can you, is the point of showing that slide. Okay, nothing more. Fine. Now, very important is to sleep well. Now we are calling it an entity called sleep hygiene. It means what you need to take care regarding the environment in which you are sleeping and what all things to avoid and not do at a time when you are closer to your sleeping time. Now, going to sleep around the same time every day really helps. Sleeping in a dark room without any stimulant lighting at a comfortable temperature is so very important. Avoiding large meals, exercise, caffeine, nicotine, and liquids 2 hours before sleep is very much advisable, and maintain a very dim light in your bedroom environment and no electronic gadget at all. I hope we can all do that. No electronic gadgets around is going to maintain your sleep hygiene. This is a sentence from the Forbes magazine. Always remember that money is not everything in life. I'm sure most of you would agree to this, but I don't, because there is a tagline to this thing which says that though you believe that money is not everything in life, make sure that you earn sufficiently enough before you think of such nonsense. Because if you look at studies from across the world, if there has been one factor which has actually led to more midlife happiness, that has been financial stability. And it is not just about being filthy rich. It's just about being rich enough to take care of your day-to-day expenses, as well as having enough reserve for you to follow your passion in your later life. You might love to travel. You might love to take up an alternative passion that you wish to follow. It could be anything for that matter. So you need money for that. And then money as the reserve to take care of your children's educational expenditure. Now, these 3 headings, if you can take care, with a health insurance for you and your family, with a life insurance for you and your family, and some deposits, okay, some kind of investments with guaranteed returns. Those are the primary key towards midlife happiness. So never ever believe that money is not everything. Money means a lot as far as midlife happiness is concerned. A lot of problems can be avoided if you have enough amount of money to take care of your expenses as well as of your family, both for the present as well as for the future. Now, before I end, the aims of this lecture are primarily to convey these points, whatever you have got from this lecture, to your parents. On a personal front, if you're already more than 65, I would say congratulations, because you've gone through a very, very tough phase, sometimes maybe not knowing about it much, but you've actually gone through that successfully, and you deserve a big round of applause if you're more than 65. Now, if you are in your midlife now, I think this is the time to introspect you and plan out a little bit more better. Some reshift your strategies, have some new points that are coming in, which can modify the thought process that you had otherwise before you actually listen to this lecture. And if you are in your 20s, I think that's the best time to listen to these lectures, because then you can plan for your midlife much better and you can avoid all these trouble that can actually come to you. So as I always say, life begins at 40 is an extremely motivational statement. To be realistic, so do fallen arches, romanticism, faulty eyesight, and a tendency to tell a story to the same person 3 to 4 times. If you have started doing that, I would say welcome to midlife. On that note, thank you so much for a very patient listening. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
I just wonderfully covered. But before I give my comments, I'll ask Rajinder Nagarkati, you please comment. Then I.
Wonderful. Thank you, madam. Thank you. Yes, at the outset, I wish to thank Dr. Komal and Dr. Niranjan for, as everyone has said, for organizing this trending ASK, which is so very popular and, so very informative to all the OBGYN. And coming on to today's webinar, wonderful talk, Shaijas. You have improved much more, I would say. I've heard you at the beginning when I handed over the reins of the midlife committee to you, and today was even better. That time was also very good, but today was even better. So wonderful talk, wonderful points that you have brought out. I would say, especially on your the points about the Mediterranean diet and about multitasking. I would say multitasking like you. You are so proficient in everything, right from academics to singing to dancing to exercising, so everything. And you have brought out very, very salient points on exercise. Of course, Dr. Maninder is the epitome on telling about exercises, but today you brought out some very salient points, especially about the postural aspects and the timing for doing the exercises and everything. So it was a wonderful talk and something different from the normal menopause therapies that we listen to. So a big round of applause for you. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who's here today. And as everyone has said, we must ensure and help both Dr. Mandakini Madam and Dr. Komal Chavan in reaching their destination of President and Vice President Foxy. Thank you so much.
Komal, we have time to give my comments?
Yes, madam, of course.
Okay, now? Okay, yeah. So because Shaijas has given such a wonderful presentation today that if I don't talk about it, that won't do justice to him at least.
Absolutely true. Absolutely
covering
true.
from midlife, from the how we have to prepare for that, and how we should be making more friends and being social. We try to cut off, and improving our mental health was something. I am very happy that you have discussed these topics, because at the level of SESAMS, that is what I am doing now. Menopause, quality of life issues on menopause dating scale. So, but of diet and everything were covered nicely. What touched my heart was exercise. It appeared to me like I was talking about exercise, the way you cover the maximum heart rate, what it should be. So, and in such a wonderful way. And how much we should be doing from 30 minutes is just maintaining, 60 is rather maintaining 60 to 90 if you want to lose. So change your attitude. And the basics you covered about was the resistance training and the, what was the, basically your stamina building. So there are two different things, building up your muscle mass and your stamina things. And both he has covered nicely, that if you have just to improve your stamina, then you do the more repetition with lesser weight. But if you really have to improve your power, then you have to take more weight with less repetition. So that shows you are doing it. It shows on me also that I'm so that is one thing more which we have to add to it, is that it's just like brushing your teeth. If you can start it today, do it for 2 months, 3 months, you find the effects. And if you stop it, you'll go back. You will go back. So you have to somehow or the other keep it where you can maintain it. So what I tell people now is that your first temple is your body, because God has given it to you to look after, not to spoil it. Because through this body, you are getting all the worldly delights. But if you don't look after this body, you won't be able to climb up the stairs of any temple, church or gurdwara or anything, because all these worshipping places are at a height. So why they have made on a height? Perhaps they wanted us to be active. till the last days of our life. So that is very, very important. And you touched on sleep hygiene, which we should be talking about a lot, and financial stability. I think you touched the core of all the subjects which is needed for the happy midlife. But I am changing one thing now, the staging of menopause. It's not midlife. It's not till 65 years. 65 years too young. So let's keep it now 40 to 70, young midlife, 70 to 80, and the midlife, and 80 beyond, you can seek of a later life, but a happy life after that, and a happy life and independent life, not being a burden to others. So thank you very much for a wonderful talk. And thank you, Komal, for making it feasible. And Mandakini, we wish you best, and Komal to you also. May God give you. There will be many, I think, further aims which you have to achieve and your destinations. And I hope you can achieve everything in your life with your hard work. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mandakini
Komal
madam.
madam, before you start, I think all the best to you. I think the quality of work that you have done over the years speaks for itself. I still believe that you actually don't need a campaign movement. It is just to remind people rather than tell people that they need to vote for you. I think the quality of work that you have done over the years, the amount of effort you have taken, I think you're all very inspiring people in Foxy for us to grow up and we hope and pray that we can reach this level someday. I think that has been the kind of mentorship that you have all provided and the kind of work that you have all done. So all the best to you on your endeavor. And I'm sure that it's not just about elections. I think even beyond that, you're going to make a serious difference as far as this big organization is concerned, as well as best wishes to Mandagini madam also for her elections. So all the best. Thank you so much for the opportunity again. And thank you so much to Raju sir and Maninder madam for always being with me.
Yes.
We are with you.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Wonderful.
Maninder madam, Dr. Rajendra Nagargati and Dr. Shaijas. I think we had the main icons of midlife here talking, and this was such an interesting session. I really enjoyed and was glued to my seat. So over to you, Tanushree.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Indeed, it was a very enthralling session. I could not stop taking screenshots of every slide of sirs because it was so pertaining to today. The calorie, the counts, the exercising. Thank you so much, sir. And thank you, lovely chairpersons. Moving on to a second topic of menopause hormone therapy and the current concepts. Our chairpersons, Dr. Anju Soni, ma'am. Ma'am is the HOD of Obstetrics and Gynecology in the Department Soni Hospital of Jaipur. Ma'am is also the chairperson of HIV and AIDS Committee Foxy, Secretary General IMS, President-elect IMS, member India CCM. Ma'am has a fellowship in Indian Menopause Society. She's the president of GOGS and has many awards to herself. We welcome you, ma'am. Our second chairperson, Dr. Jyoti Jaiswal, ma'am, is also the professor and head of the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology in JNM Medical College, Raipur. Ma'am has 20 years plus teaching experience. Ma'am is the vice president of CG ISAR, vice president Raipur OBGYN Society, treasurer IAGE, national treasurer of IMS, has many awards and accolades to herself. We welcome you, ma'am. Our second topic for today is MHT in current concepts, and we request the chairpersons to please call upon the speaker and grace the occasion.
Hi. At the offset, I would like to thank Dr. Komal and congratulate her for a beautiful conceptualization of this academic program. And today, when she's talking of her this M part, the menopausal part, I think she's collected all the stars from all over, starting with the president who had been there in past, like Dr. Ratnavali, Dr. Maninder, and president who is now president of Indian Menopause Society, and I am president-elect, and then the Foxy midlife committee chairs, and she has collected almost everybody. And it is a topic which we are all close to, and we are all, I think, going through this phase of life. And it is a very, very important topic which have been chosen today. And Ratnabali is a great orator and a great speaker. She has been a past president, as I already said. She has won lots and lots of awards, and she's a great, great, teacher. I don't want to waste much time. We all know Dr. Ratnabali so well that she's a great, written many books. And when she was president, she had been a really humble and a great administrator also. So welcome, Dr. Ratnabali, for your, we would like to give more time to your talk.
Thank you,
Welcome.
Anju. At the outset, I must thank Dr. Komal, Dr. Niranjan for making this happen, because recently I am not coming to the podium, giving more chances to the juniors so that they get more interested in menopause, because all of you know that it's very difficult to induce people into this getting interest into menopausal medicine. However, that is one of the most important, because that is how we can give something back to our mothers, mom. I have seen my best friend Maninder giving an excellent, her impression on how my previous speaker spoke on the exercise and others. She is always so enchanting. Anju is there, and I have seen Jyotika is there, and Pushpa is also there, all of my friends, Dr. Nagarkatti. So it's a sort of a meeting with the friends, but I am not enjoying at the moment, because to talk about MHT and make it popular is the most difficult task that I've faced in my life. Talking on this topic for the last 20 years, what I have found, people get more interested in exercise, diet, meditation, hobbies, though they follow very little. And when it comes to the MHT, they run to the doctor, whether they will prescribe it or not. But believe me or not, majority of the doctors do not think about prescribing MHT, because not taking responsibility of giving a medicine to a person which is so controversial. Because we are doing the CMEs for last few, not few, but quite a number of years, is making it a bit more popular, but more and more, I would say, Kamal, you have done an excellent thing, that even there are 13, 14 people who listens to it and percolates the knowledge to others, that means something. So my presentation will be more on, the trial reports that has come up, so that whoever a presenter, not talking about, not thinking about something very, basics. It should be some evidences that will make them more and more clinging to the MHT therapies. And so, if we look at, sorry, yeah, is it full screen now? Can you see? Can everybody see?
Yes,
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 ma'am.
Dr. Ratnabali, yes.
Yeah. So, in the beginning, I must congratulate, be thankful, and pay my regards to two of the Indian Menopause Society members. One of them is Meeta, who actually came up with the statistics. We didn't have any statistics. Earlier, we always referred to the statistics in the European statistics, the North American statistics, the Australian statistics, but now we do have our Indian statistics. So in India, we have found out that the average age of menopause is 46 years, which is quite lower than that is observed in the Caucasians. There it is maybe 51.5 years. We are having at the age of 46.5 years. And therefore, you can find there are four, problems we have mentioned here that happens due to age, due to hormone deficiency after menopause, osteoporotic fractures. This happens almost 10 to 20 years earlier in Indians as compared to the Caucasians. Similarly, first myocardial infarction. It is in 4.4% of the Asian women younger than their European counterparts. Looking in the type 2 diabetes mellitus, almost 10 years earlier than the Caucasians. And the breast cancer incidence, here the peak is about 50 years. When if you look at the Caucasians, it's at the age of 60 to 62 years. So we are maybe aging, maybe having menopause earlier and having all the complications earlier. Therefore, when we started, working for Indian Menopause Society, we decreased the age and said, keep fit at 40. So the life begins at 40. These were the taglines we were using to make people understand that you must start thinking and you must start acting from the age of 40, not after 45, not after menopause, much earlier than that. And this was the staging that was being done in 2001. It came up of there was a meeting after which it came up. And I must be paying my respect to our late Dr. Ankleseria, who came up with another staging, almost the same, but there was another staging which very clearly indicates that we are not looking at post-menopause. Then all the problems have already settled in. We are looking at the menopausal transition. Perimenopause, stage -1, stage -2. These are the opportune moments, and we must look at it. Now we have our Indian data. The South Indian data says that the maximum number of women who comes at the age of menopause are with emotional problems. You look at the South Indian films, there are a lot of emotional movements over there. And here also that is being reflected. You look at the genital problems, it is same in North and South Indian studies, 9.3, 9.9. However, the sleep disturbance is more in the North Indian woman. You look at the Nepal. When you look at the Nepal, the loss of sexual interest makes them more and more troubled after menopause. However, the loss of memory is almost in a half of them. They do not complain so much about the night sweat or day sweat, burning sensations, dry during intercourse, not so. But they are really, really, bothered about the loss of the sexual interest. So we can see that depending on the culture, depending on the place you are staying, it all changes how you are growing up. So we know there are two parts of this problem. One is the symptoms of the menopause, and what are the complications of menopause. We look at the symptoms of menopause, all of you know vasomotor symptoms, psychological symptoms, urogenital and sexual symptoms, and general physical symptoms. And if a woman comes to you at your chamber, clinic, with these symptoms, you have to treat them. And here where the place of menopausal hormone therapy is. However, earlier when we started working in the Indian Menopause Society with the menopausal woman, we used to say that also to prevent the long-term problems of cardiovascular, osteoporosis and others, you must give hormone therapies. But nowadays that part is just obsolete. We are just sticking to the symptom like vasomotor, like urogenital, with which the woman comes to us. And the consequence of menopause long-term, like metabolic, as we discussed, the diabetes mellitus, the dyslipidemia, cardiovascular problems, skeletal problems, and urogenital problems, they come later on. And accepting the urogenital problems, wherein the woman comes with it, we must prescribe MHT. In others, for the prevention of these complications, we are not doing so. So, looking at the recommendation that came up with the from the from the International Menopause Society, which was based on the new evidences, and the purpose is to guide the healthcare providers, and they are being laid down after taking into consideration the societies like International Menopause Society, European Menopause Society, Andropause Society, North American Menopause Society, and came up with the consensus. And we are sticking to that. And Indian Menopause Society is also guided by this International Menopause Society guidelines. So looking at that, sorry, it's not moving. Yeah, this is a global trend in the menopausal hormone therapy. So menopausal hormone therapy is undoubtedly for the vasomotor symptom is the most effective treatment. And when we give it is effective and appropriate for prevention of osteoporosis-related fractures, less than 60 years or less than 10 years after menopause. And the standard dose of estrogen alone MHT may decrease cardiovascular disease which was contrary to the belief earlier that cardiovascular disease increases with estrogen. No, with estrogen alone, that is not increasing, and all-cause mortality is also not increasing. For the local urogenital problems, local low-dose estrogen therapy is preferred, whose symptoms are limited to the vaginal dryness. For that, no oral therapy, only the local thrombolysis. And estrogen, single systemic agent is appropriate after the hysterectomy. We don't need any progestogen. Risk of venous thromboembolism and ischemic stroke increases with oral MHT, but absolute risk is rare below the age of 60 years if we start within 10 years of menopause. Risk of breast cancer, which is of another, anxiety for which the woman comes to us, they are attributable to MHT is very small, and the risk decreases after the treatment is stopped. In women with premature ovarian insufficiency is a very important point that here we are bound to prescribe MHT. Systemic MHT is recommended at until the average age of natural menopause at that region. And the dose and duration of MHT should be consistent with the treatment goals and safety issues and should be individualized. Current safety data do not support the use of MHT in the breast cancer survivors. We have got other molecules which are non-hormonal. The North American Menopause Society in the 2017 came up with the similar, consensus data. FDA approved MHT only for the vasomotor symptoms, which will also prevent the bone loss, and in a lower dose, really for the prevention of bone loss, is being FDA approved in US. Early menopausal and genitourinary symptoms, the local estrogens. Early menopause increases the risk of vasomotor symptoms, VVA, bone loss, etc. All of us know, plus the ophthalmic disorders and dementia. And therefore, the consideration of MHT should be based on overall strategy, including the lifestyle, which my previous speaker was talking about, for maintaining the health in the postmenopausal woman. And this premature ovarian insufficiency, we'll discuss it in details, is the most important point. We should not neglect these patients. Risk and benefits of MHT differ for the premenopausal as compared to the older woman. We have discussed already. And MHT has reduced risk if the woman is younger than 60 or within 10 years of menopause. So these are the same as we discussed earlier. And routine discontinuation at the age of 65 years is not supported. It is said that if she is better, feeling better, quality of life is good, we can continue, but we have to regularly monitor the patient. So coming to the dosage of estrogen, we should use as low as possible. The standard dose, for example, with the conjugated equine estrogen was 0.625. We can start nowadays with the low dose 0.3. Even ultra low doses are available, which prevents the osteoporosis. Similar with the progestogens, we now know that progesterone, natural progesterone is very good, have less side effects in these women, including on the breast and on the cardiovascular system. Next comes the dihydrogesterone. So these two progesterones we prefer instead of medroxyprogesterone and norepinephrine. These were the progestogens which were used in the WHI trials. So increased estrogen exposure coming to the breast cancer. You can see when we are using OCs or other estrogen for other breast, conditions, no breastfeeding, no children, earlier menarche, late menopause, relative risk remains up to the 2. And family history of breast cancer, first time more than 30 years, increased bone density means more estrogen in the body. The relative risk of breast cancer, 2 to 4. And increased serum estradiol concentration, if you find that, and bone density much above the normal one, then the relative risk is almost to the range of 4. So when we give MHT in a continuous manner, the risk of endometrial cancer decreases. If we give it in a sequential manner, sometimes it does not decrease, but with the continuous manner, it decreases. There are systematic review of 28 studies which says that use of unopposed estrogen sequential combined therapy increases the risk of endometrial cancer. However, continuous combined therapy seems risk-free but possibly not when the micronized progesterone is used. Therefore, micronized progesterone is very good on breast and cardiovascular system, but when it is added, then the risk of endometrial cancer is not so much decreased as with other hormones. This is looking at the breast cancer again. Micronized progesterone or dihydrogesterone appeared to be linked with lower risk on the MHT-associated breast cancer than the synthetic progesterone, and that has been fixed right now. So there are a lot of study reports, one large European observational study, case control study from France, and registry study from Finland. All of them is pointing in the same direction. So when we're looking for the choice of progesterone and breast cancer risk, we are looking at if the breastline risk without MHT is 1, when we give estradiol and dihydrogesterone, it is just 1.13. If we add medroxyprogesterone, it goes up to 1.654. And if we add non-estradiol acetate, it is 2.03, and so on and so forth. So it increases as we have discussed if we give the different types of progesterones, not depending on the estrogen, however. So progesterone choice rather than estrogen may affect the breast cancer risk. Therefore, if a woman comes to us and we need to give her estrogen, progesterone, MHT for quite some time, we must look at the progesterone composition rather than thinking about the estrogen one. So here you can see, if you look at this risk of all causes, all type of breast cancers, it favors MHT if we take estrogen and progesterone. However, if we take progesterone, the endometrium is not protected so much. It favors placebo when we are using the dihydrogesterone, estrogen alone, and estrogen and other progesterogens. So looking at this, overall 68.9% ductal breast cancer and 19% of lobular breast cancer risk is there when we are using, sorry, here's the PowerPoint. Yeah, so sorry. Yeah. So the Cochrane review was performed to determine the effects of MHT on the prevention of cardiovascular disease. Now we are moving from breast cancer, endometrial cancer, to the cardiovascular risk. There are a lot of randomized control trials where more than 40,000 postmenopausal women were taken into account. And that is giving a similar result when started less than 10 years after menopause. It is reduction in death from all causes of composite type of cardiovascular causes of myocardial infarction. A little evidence that of any effect of MHT on the risk of stroke. And when started more than 10 years, then, however, there is no protection, rather risk is increased. So early initiation of MHT in post-menopause, you can do favors placebo, favors treatment. When we are taking the hazard ratio, it is only 0.7, 0.52. So that is in favor of if we give it earlier. So you can see less than 10 years after menopause, it favors the treatment. More than 10 years after menopause, it does not, it favors the placebo. Therefore, cardiovascular risk, venous thromboembolism, stroke, all-cause mortality, they increase. Therefore, we are not going to give it after menopause is established for the last 10 years. So we are looking, at the cardiac mortality risk decreased with more than 1 year of MHT, but increased after discontinuation. So that is also there. Therefore, it's not that I give it for 1 year and stop and let's see what happens. It's not so. We have to really look at the risk factors. So if you take individually, the systolic blood pressure decreases in normotensive women if they are put on estrogens, MHTs of any types, and diabetes also. The EMAS guidelines, the European Society guidelines recommend the use of progestogen with neutral glucose metabolism like dihydrogesterone, natural progesterones, which affects the reduce in the risk of type 2 diabetes and associated complications, because we know T2 diabetes increases at this point of time, and we are the diabetic capital. India is a diabetic capital. So improvement in the blood glucose and insulin response takes place. This is the fasting glucose, the blue one, and this one is the fasting insulin level. both of them are improving if they are in the year 2 when they put on the MHT. So the safety and related recommendation data are here. So if you look at the thromboembolism, favor MHT when micronized progesterone is used and dydrogesterone is used. But when you are using more androgenic type of progesterone like norethisterone, normegestrel, then it's better not to use it alone or only oral estrogens. In those cases, the chances of DVT increases. So similar with the different types of MHTs, you can see over here transdermal MHTs, they decrease the chances of thromboembolism. And the other types of hormonal therapies, along with transdermal MHTs, they are decreasing the chances of. So if you looking at the favorable and less favorable, so in nutshell, this is favorable is less than 60 years, within 10 years of menopause. And when we are giving for the long term, how long to give? We have seen one trial says that if she is getting benefit out of the medicines, then you need not stop at any age. However, we usually look at the stop. Yeah, within 6 months to 2 years, usually the vasomotor symptoms is taken care of, and then we can stop it. So if you look at it, number of women per 1,000 per 5 years of use, when we are using MHT, hot flashes, vaginal atrophy, all are 100% symptoms become better. Only the symptom of breast cancer, that is worse. We are looking at non-small scale lung cancers, venothrombotic episodes, strokes, and cholecystitis. These are more. Otherwise, the coronary heart disease, overall mortality, colorectal cancers, diabetes, fractures, everything is less with MHT. So similar, it is showing in 1,000 women over 5 years. If we are using only estrogen, conjugated equine estrogen, everything gives in a better result, excepting the risk is over here, deep vein thrombosis. If we add progesterone, then this risk changes. Then if it is medroxyprogesterone, starting from the breast cancer till coronary heart disease, always the risk becomes more. So here is a WHO trial and one Danish osteoporosis prevention trial. Here you can see, looking at the age, this violet is the age one. If it takes the violet bars, wherever there is a violet bar, that is increasing the absolute risk. Otherwise, if it is started less than 50 to 60 years, 60 to 69 years, everywhere we are getting benefit of MHT. Lastly, this one is a mandate that we should use MHTs in premature ovarian insufficiency. We know when menopause starts prior to 40 years, and in India, approximately 1.5%. You can see this is from the Indian district level and household survey, less than where the woman, sometimes, many a times, they say that my age is 40 years. So at that time, she has already passed 50. So this Indian woman, it has come up that less than 40 years menopausal women are 1.5%. The sequelae, all of us know, there is reduced fertility, reduced BMD, increased cardiovascular risk, genitourinary risk, and poor quality of life. Etiology, I'm not going into details, but long-term effects of bilateral oophorectomy has been translated over here. And these are the trial reports, Dutch cohort study, age of menopause and mortality in Japan, etc., where every profile it is shown that life expectancy is reduced by 2 years when menopause occurs before the age of 40 years. So these are the women where we should use MHTs, like this is a Mayo Clinic report, HRT non-user and user. If you look at this, you can see that when bilateral oophorectomy is done before the age of 45 years and MHT is given, their risk of having the overall mortality is much less than those who are not receiving any HRT. And here we are lacking. So many cases of hysterectomies with bilateral salping oophorectomies are done in India before the age of 45. Who bothers to give any MHT to them? And therefore, for POI, the MHT should be given for the vasomotor symptom, yes, genitourinary, yes, bone health, yes, cardiovascular, yes, sexual function, yes. These three reports have not come up on the life expectancy, quality of life, and neurological functions. So thank you very much for your patient hearing. This is in nutshell because, MHT is a very, very large subject to discuss. I think if there are any question, there are experts in the panel who can also answer.
Thank you, Dr. Ratnavali, for such an elaborate and crisp talk, and especially with the, all the data saying that where it is beneficial and where it is, there are risks. And of course, the very important message which we all have been saying, that it should be started within 10 years of menopause and less than 60 years of age, I think is very, very important. And I'm sure the people who are listening to the webinar, your lecture must be, must have understood that MSC is very, very important and is very beneficial, not only for the symptoms, but also for prevention of lots of disease, especially in POI. And as we Indians have an earlier menopause, our having this problem of menopausal complications are much, much higher. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Ratnabali madam. Meeting you after a long time on the web platform, and thanks Dr. Komal to involve us so that we can meet madam again. And thank you for your very much evidence-based talk, madam. By your talk, we can understand the safety are more and the problems are less. But in the general population, it is in the mind that safety is less and the problems are more. But we have to keep them incorporating in their mind, and more than that, incorporating the doctor's mind itself, that safety is much higher if it is given at the right time and for the right indication and in right doses. So we appreciate your wonderful talk, and thank you again, Dr. Komal, to involve us in this platform.
Rightly said, Dr. Ratnapali and Jyoti, individualize every patient and then individualize the treatment for everyone. Thank you very much.
Ratna, hello. Dr. Ratnabali.
Bolo.
Yeah. It was a wonderful talk and it was nice meeting you after a long, long time. But as a past president of IMS and a spokesperson for the IMS, I think, should we give the message now, the complete assessment of all the women who come to us, or even if they don't come to us at the 40 years of age, for risk assessment for cardiometabolic, diabetes, hypertension. Every woman should be assessed for them, even starting from the family history of diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, or personal history of PCODs, or history of hypertensive disorders during pregnancy, which perhaps we are not taking during our routine history taking in women.
Thank you, Maninder. In fact, we are doing that for quite some, maybe last 15 years. Life Begins at 14 involves the public awareness, the health camps we are doing everywhere. From Kolkata Menopause Society, we regularly go and do this health camps in the suburban areas, in the rural areas. And believe me, we recently went to very, very distant Adivashis, one village. And we did not find a single case of woman with any metabolic problem. Only two women had hypertension, moderate level, one diabetic. Excepting that, nobody had any hypertension, diabetes, cardiovascular problem, any breast problem, any genetic problem, nothing. They had mainly the skin problems. If you ask, did you have menopausal this, and they cannot remember at all. They're all working in the field. So the point is, we have to first segregate. Doing this sort of, from menopause society, we have to find out that in urban areas, suburban areas, village women working in the field, working in other areas at home, who are actually at risk. And we have to target those women. Suburban women are absolutely at risk. Even in the city, the women are conscious. They go to the gyms. They do a bit of diet. Suburban areas, they do not do anything. All of them have got a very high BMI. They are diabetic. They never knew that they are diabetic. We are the first people from IMS went and diagnosed diabetes and hypertension in them. So there is a big, big wide field where we can work.
Absolutely. Very well said.
Talking about HRT, the first line we should be talking again is take previous history, because the most of the gynecologists, they are not doing it. These personal
No.
histories, they should be taking it. So if we start
No,
talking,
no.
because when we are talking about these menopause hormone therapies, we should specifically enumerate them for them to know each and every history point which is important.
And best wishes to Dr. Komal and Dr. Mandakini. Thank you very much
Thank
Yeah.
you.
for the invitation.
All the
Best
best,
wishes.
Mandakini ma'am and Komal madam, both of you. Thank you.
Yeah, it was a lovely discussion and a great talk by Dr. Ratnabali madam. I think really practical points, so well highlighted everything. And thank you so much for your wishes, Dr. Jyoti and Dr. Anju and Ratnabali madam. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes.
Our session 2, our panel discussion on medical legal aspects of OBS gynae. Our moderator for today, Dr. Manish Machwe sir, unfortunately is not being able to make it. Sir is stuck in a medical emergency and he has asked to apologize because he just cannot make it. But Dr. Niranjan Chavan sir is going to be gracious enough to conduct the panel for us on behalf of Dr. Manish Machwe sir. Our expert for today, Dr. MC Patel sir. Sir is a consultant obstetrician and gynecologist and a medical legal counselor, Vice President Foxy 2018, Organizing Secretary AICOG 2017, Honorary Secretary State Organization of Gynecology Gujarat, and the list goes on and on. Sir has multiple awards and accolades to his name. It is such an honor to have you with us, sir. Our panelists for today, Dr. Dilip Walke sir is a consultant in Jupiter Hospital and MediPoint Hospital, Pune. Chairman Ethics and Medical Legal Committee, Foxy. President, Pune Obs Gynae Society. Co-author, Foxy Uniform Consent. And advisory board member of Dr. Prax Telemedicine Solution. Dr. Nikhil Datta sir is a gynecologist, obstetrician and laparoscopic surgeon with 32 years of experience. He's a senior consultant in multiple hospitals in Cloud9 Hospital in Malad. Sir has experience in handling high-risk pregnancies, ovarian cysts, endometriosis, and the list goes on and on. Sir has received 2 gold medals as well. Dr. Rajnikant Contractor sir is a member of XCSB, which is Central Supervisory Board, PCPNDT, Health and Family Welfare. I think I'm so sorry, I was muted. Dr. Rajnikant sir is the member of XCSB and Health and Family Welfare Government of India, chairperson of National Infertility and Art Bill ISAR, member of Advisory Committee MTP Act Government of Gujarat, core member of PCPNDT Cell Foxy 2015 to 2018. Our next panelist, Dr. Rahul Wani, sir, is the president and MOGS with 17 years of experience. Sir has also offered his regrets because he'll not be able to be a part of the panel. Dr. Varshal Hade, ma'am, is the president, Nashik Obstetrics and Gynecological Society 2022-23, zonal coordinator of AMOGS, past organizing secretary of NOGS, past joint secretary IMA, national faculty for gestosis, director of Prayag Hospital, Nashik. We welcome you, ma'am. Dr. Mona Shroff, ma'am, is a clinical director and consultant in Nova IVF Fertility, Surat. She's an ex-associate professor of SMIMER, master trainer of EMOC program, master trainer of clinical training skills course accredited by the JPAGO, Iron Donald diploma in obstetrics and gynecological ultrasound, life member ISAR and IMS. Dr. Ashok Shukla sir is an infertility specialist with 20 years of experience, practices at Sai Ashirwad Maternity and Nursing Home, Mira Road, Mumbai. Sir is the FCPS in Midlife and Gynecology from Topiwala National Medical College, and sir has many accolades to him. Dr. Rajendra Tiwari sir is the director cum proprietor of Shri Maternity and Nursing Home, Danau. Sir is also the IAAC Executive Committee member, Managing Committee member, and area representative of Jogeshwari and Dahisar AMC Mumbai, member of MTP Committee and Negligence Committee. His experience includes present in many papers, has rights related subjects, and the list goes on and on. We welcome our panelists and we welcome Dr. Niranjan sir to please come and moderate the panel for us.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Tanushri, and I welcome all the esteemed panelists who are there. They are eminent medical legal consultants from Foxy and have a great contribution to their local society and to our gynecologists who are having issues regarding the MTP Act, regarding the POSCO patients, regarding violence against doctors. So I welcome each one of you, and it's really great to have all of you. So basically, this is an open forum. I do not have any slides. We don't need any slides. So it is just the questions will be asked to any of the panelists. They have to give as per their experience. All of them are my friends, and I have great
क्या
respect.
बोल रही थी अमीना?
I have a great respect for them. I
तो
would
10 बजे पे किसको बोलोगे?
I would request the host to please mute the members. Thank you. Nice to see you, Dr. Dilip. Well, I'm
Hi.
yeah, I'm doing locum for Dr. Manish as he's stuck up in a PPH case. So so we begin with the MTP Amendment Act. Dr. Dilip Warke, there are still patients which come to us who are more than beyond 19 weeks or other 20.2 or 20.3 weeks. And now the MTP Amendment Act is done and it is increased. But there is still confusion amongst them that do they have to go to a medical legal board or do they have to go to the court or something like that, you know, because here also if you see all the states of India and also in the districts of Maharashtra, not everyone has got the medical board being founded in each and every district. Say even in Chandrapur they don't have, even in say very distant like Konkan area also they don't have any board, so they refer cases to JJ hospital. So what is your take on this when such a patient comes in at say 22 weeks, 23 weeks? So are they eligible for a direct MTP, and what things, precautions a obstetrician has to do?
So, Niranjan, when it comes to an MTP beyond 20 weeks, let's divide it between in two parts. One is 20 to 24 and beyond 24, because the statutory requirements for both these situations are different. So if we are doing an MTP between 20 and 24 weeks, number one, opinion of two RMPs is required. So this is a change. And there was a time when we used to ask for two opinions even for an MTP between 12 and 20 weeks. Now, up to 20 weeks, there is no problem. We can take an opinion of one single RMP and go ahead and do the MTP. But when it comes to an MTP between 20 and 24 weeks, those indications which were there for our MTP up to 20 weeks have a little change. And the little change is that you have to just refer to the form E. Like when we are doing an MTP up to 20 weeks, there is a different form. But when you're doing an MTP up between 20 and 24 weeks, there is a form E where the indications are absolutely properly mentioned. So the indications go like this, that you can do it for a survivor of a sexual assault. And if a rape victim comes to you, also not only you can do the MTP with filling the form E, but you have to inform the police also. Of course, if it is a minor, you have to inform the police, whether it is a rape case or whatever, it is considered to be rape unless proved otherwise, and not even unless proved otherwise. It is supposed to be a case of rape under the POXO Act, and you have to inform police. Then widow or divorcee. But now there is still a confusion. If somebody is in the process of divorce, can we do it between 20 and 24 weeks? Is still a confusion. Some case laws might tell us the answer. A woman with major physical disability, or a mentally ill patient, or fetal malformation that has substantial risk of being incompatible with law if the baby was delivered, or a humanitarian setting. Now they have put this because this amendment came during the COVID time. So some special situation like a COVID, but that has to be humanitarian setting, has to be again explained. It has not been made clear. So this is about MTP up to 24 weeks. You have to you have to understand that MTP up to 24 weeks is allowed. But you cannot write failure of contraception as an indication after 20 weeks. And then when it comes to beyond 24 weeks, as you say that the problem is yet not resolved for peripheral doctors, the problem is resolved for, say, Bombay or Pune. In Pune, we have to refer them to a medical board in Sassoon Hospital, and the medical board gives them permission. But till today, such a permission has not been given to a private setup. What they do is when you refer the patient there, then they give permission, but they insist on getting the MTP done in a medical college. Actually, the act says that it can be done in a place where there is ultrasound facilities. That is the only thing that is mentioned in the act. So technically, it should be allowed in a private setup also. All we need to have is a sonography facility. Probably that is because they are talking about doing a termination of pregnancy after 24 weeks by putting in a needle and then injecting KCL or something like that. So this is what you have to remember, 20 to 24 and beyond 24.
So my question, Dilip sir, is that do they have to go to the which they go to a gynecologist, but do they have to go to court?
Now, if supposing the patient was in Pune or
do they have to
Mumbai,
get a permission from the court?
No, if this patient goes are referred to Sassoon, I'll tell you what is happening in Pune. If I were to refer this patient to Sassoon,
Yes.
and if the Sassoon board feels that it has got substantial fetal malformation, now again, this substantial fetal anomaly has not been properly described. What is supposed to be substantial? So it is kept up to the whims and fancies of the people sitting on the board there. So if the board feels that there is substantial fetal anomaly, then the board can allow, and then you need not go to the court.
So
But
from
say,
sir, from 20 to 24, they need to go to court, or they have to, or
No.
they have to go to court after 24 weeks.
Only after 22. 20 to 24, all you have to do is, if your center is registered, 2 RMPs sign and see whether the indication falls within that. The onus of deciding the indication is up to the RMP. No need to refer to the board. Beyond 24 weeks, yes, go to the board. And again, things like a single mother who's pregnant after 24 weeks, or a rape victim pregnant after 24 weeks.
Yes.
Again, what
Yes.
they have said is after 24 weeks, it is allowed only for substantial fetal anomaly. So still, a rape victim or a single mother who becomes pregnant after 24 weeks, the board is not going to give permission. Still, you'll have to go to the High Court for getting a permission. There are certain lacunae still in the MTP.
Should I comment?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
please.
Yes, sir. I'm
Hi,
coming to you.
MC sir.
I'm coming to
Yes.
you, and I want opinion, because the first question is regarding MTP Amendment Act 2021, where it has been increased from 20 weeks to 24 weeks, but still there are gray zone, and still there is some amount of clarity to be necessity of for for the hour by all you expert for Foxians. MC Patel was also the past the vice president of Foxy, and also the medical legal chair. Dr. Dilip Warke is also the chair of the medical legal. So they are all experts. So I want an opinion from Gujarat now, sir, and then I'll come to Rajnikant contractor.
So as far as this MTP Act amendment is concerned, very rightly described by Dr. Dilip, that if pregnancy is more than 24 weeks, and even if it is a case of rape victim, but if pregnancy is very normal, medical board has no power to opine. So in this type of condition, one has to go to Honorable High Court seeking writ petition for permission for termination of pregnancy. If it is less than 24 weeks and more than 20 weeks, then Dilip has described some categories.
There are
In
8
those
categories.
categories,
Yes.
opinion of 2 registered medical practitioner enough to go for termination of pregnancy.
Yes.
As far as medical board is concerned, if I quote state of Gujarat, in so many districts of Gujarat, board is already formed, and few of our gynecologist friends who are working in private sector, they are also included in that board. So usually, as per this amendment, medical board will be constituted by 1 gynecologist, 1 pediatrician, 1 sonologist. They should be from government part.
Yes.
But they may invite 2 to 3 more persons in the board, and in that clause, uh, appropriate authority of respective district have invited our Foxian friends also in that board. And in so many of district of Gujarat, board is already working, functioning.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. MC Patel, sir, for that heartening news that you have medical board in most of the districts, and even they have included private. I think Maharashtra also, there is a AMOG's MTP committee. Dr. Komal is the head, and she has already sent letters to all the district hospitals under the leadership of Dr. Rajendra Pardesi, and we are also working in Mumbai city. We have at JJ Hospital, and that takes into consideration. It has a panel of 7 to 8 doctors of various fields, and they decide and they give a just decision. Now I come to
Niranjan, just now that Komal
Yes.
is working on this,
Yes.
please ask Komal to do all the advocacy that she can to actually enumerate all those substantial fetal anomalies, because only then it will not be left on the whims and fancies of the board. So
Yes, so I
if
think
all those are enumerated, since Komal is working on it, please
Yes.
tell her to do a little bit of on that also. And the second thing is, see,
Yes.
the board is going to comprise of somebody who's going to be a pediatrician. Now, pediatrician essentially cannot be a registered medical practitioner under the Act. So whether an MTP can be done or not, cannot be done, whether it is safe to do an MTP in that center is going to be decided by someone who's not an RMP under the MTP Act. So this also needs to, this is going to need a lot of advocacy, because my take is that the board should include only gynecologists, and it cannot be decided by a pediatrician that whether the MTP can be done on this case.
They usually have a radiologist.
But that is going to be a little difficult, I understand.
Dilip, it was amended in Lok Sabha that how board will constitute. So gynecologist, pediatrician, and sonologist will be there. If at all we have to go for any change, then again there should be amendment in Lok Sabha.
Exactly.
So it will remain. But we can do that as it is invited in Gujarat, in all other states. Government may invite some gynecologists from private sector in that board, and it will be sufficient, I think.
Yeah. So this point is okay, well taken, because that's going to be need a lot of advocacy and change in the Lok Sabha itself.
Okay.
But
yes,
Komal must try for a list of all.
Absolutely, she's working.
If she needs, I can send you across the list of all the substantial fetal anomalies, which if it is a total list, and at the end you can always write that this list is not comprehensive. It is not totally inclusive. There can be a different congenital anomaly.
So that from AMOGS and from Foxy, one letter should go to the government of Maharashtra or to the government of any other government. Any help is needed, please contact us, and we will include all the suggestions by Dr. Dilip Warke, Dr. Rajnikant Contractor, Dr. MC Patel sir, and even Rajendra Pardesi sir, and all those. Nikhil Datar, who has also been a proponent, he was supposed to be here, is going to join us shortly. So all these things can be put on paper, and this is the list where you should allow patients to undergo MTP, where a reasonable confirmation of the test has been done of that particular anomaly, and it should be certified so that the patient doesn't have to suffer. So I come back now to Dr. Rajendra Tiwari. Can you hear me? Yes. And Dr. Rajnikant Contractor, I want your opinion regarding the patients who come for MTP. Now, some of them have actually come at say 12.4 weeks, 12.5 weeks. They have been referred from a private center where they can't do, or they have been referred to a tertiary center or a large multi-speciality hospital, and they come on 12.6. So whether that gynecologist should do an MTP, or whether that MTP as per the MTP Act, or they should call this patient after 4 weeks or 5 weeks for a second trimester termination. What is your opinion on this? Rajendra sir, and then I will go to Rajnikant Contractor.
What I mean to is okay, Dr. Rajendra, please let me speak.
Yes,
My opinion that once the patient comes at suppose it is at 12.5 weeks, right? So you can terminate, right? there is no restriction on the part of that you cannot able to terminate. Yes, if she's a minor and then unmarried girl. So as for the Palke sir and Dr. MC Patel sir says, you should go for the whole procedure like do the inform the police, etc., etc. That is a
So that we will come to that later, sir. What I'm saying is
okay,
12
but you
point.
can do one
Yes.
line. My one line answer should be that you can do the termination of the pregnancy.
Sir, now if it is 12.6 by dates, Rajendra,
Rajendra,
We can do, sir.
You reply now. Rajendra.
We can do, sir.
12.6.
Because the indications, yeah, we can do. Because the indications up to 20 weeks are almost same, and we can do. And
So
one
they-
gynecologist is required.
So initially
One
there was,
gynecologist is required for sign.
yeah. So initially one
Previously, beyond 20
gynecologist.
weeks, 2 gynecologists were required as opinion makers, RMP.
Okay, okay.
Now only one is required till 20 weeks. So I think we can do
So
it if
total
the center is registered up to 20 weeks. If the
So-
center is not registered up to 20 weeks, then one should not do, because
No.
the center.
As per the MTP Act, see, MTP Act Amendment 21 has happened. Initially, there was one gynac only till 12, and now it has increased to 20. So
20
now gynecologists do not have to reapply again for a change in
Yeah.
that MTP. They are continuing.
Yeah, but-
So now those and all the centers are having not up to second trimester. Some of
Yeah,
them are
that's-
only doing medical abortion in a OPD, or they are attached to a nursing home where they have an ultrasound machine for which they take PCPNDT, application from say F South or your local body, which is there, or the district. And also for the MTP Act, which is only for the first trimester. So has it been increased? Now that first trimester, is it increased till 20 weeks?
No,
May I-
sir.
may I-
From the
may I-
authority, from the
Those
local
which are
authority.
20 weeks.
I'll
Sir,
make
I am
it
in the
clear.
executive committee of my district. Those up to 20 weeks, they are being given like 20 weeks tak jo registered hai, they are by default their registration becomes extended
Yeah.
to 24 weeks. And
So
those who
my
are first
nursing
trimester
home is
very-
registered, sir. My nursing home is registered for 20 weeks. So I understand 20 weeks I can do first as well as second trimester.
Yeah.
The for second trimester, you need to have an OT setup, you need to have a blood bank which is nearby, you need to have anesthesia trolley, etc., and all that TL, etc., whatever. But I'm talking about those centers now who are having only first trimester registration.
Shall I make it clear, Niranjan?
Now,
they
Dr.
should not do.
Dilip.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'll make
now
it
I'm
clear.
coming to Dr. Dilip.
Yeah, I'll make it very clear. See, you have an MTP license either up to 12 weeks or in the old license, either up to 12 weeks or between 12 and 20 weeks, right? You've got that. Those who have got a license up to 20 weeks, by default, they become 24 weeks. By default.
Yes.
All you have to
Yes.
do is go to the appropriate authority. In Pune, what they're doing is they just tell us to come to them and they will write on that license now up to 24 weeks. That's the only thing. Every local authority may have a different way of tackling it. In Pune, what they have told us, please come back with your licenses and we'll write it on the license that now you're allowed to do MTP on up to 24 weeks. But those who have those old licenses only up to 12 weeks, please do not attempt to do an MTP up to 20 weeks. You are not become default license up to 20 weeks now. You continue to do.
They cannot do
MTP.
even 13 weeks. They cannot
They
do.
cannot do 12.5, 12.6, 13 weeks. They cannot do. Only restrict to your MTPs up to 12 weeks only, as you were doing before. Right?
Yes.
So this
Yes.
is the clarity.
Yes, I think that's very important. Now, I think we have covered all the gray areas of MTP Act, and I really am thankful to all. Now we move on to Dr. Rajnikant Contractor. Rajnikant Contractor, sir, has been a very good friend of Foxy in 2013, 2014, 14, 15, 16. We had filed also, Supreme Court appeal for the PCPNDT Act, and he, along with Dr. Prakash Trivedi, Dr. Jaideep Tang, have contributed a lot. And as a result, there are a lot of changes which have occurred. In those days, I think 10 years, 8 years back, there used to be a lot of chaos of PCPNDT Act. Lot of raids used to take place all over India. Lot of genuine people were also harassed because of that. And Dr. Rajnikant Contractor was also a member at the central level, where he has helped many gynecologists along with other predecessors, and later on Dr. MC Patel and Dilip Warke. Sir, now what is the scenario of PCPNDT Act? We nowadays do not have that hulla gulla of PCPNDT Act. Has it been streamlined now? Everything about the registration, about the documentation of the machine, about the form filling, about the detailed signature, etc. How is it going? As a authority of PCPNDT Act.
As per the act, everything is going very smoothly. But again, I'm telling you that this law is implemented differently, interpreted by different way by the so many authorities. Suppose in our Gujarat, we are going very smoothly. In Maharashtra, the authority said now you should have to fill this form. Suppose in IVF, right? They demanding of filling the so many forms. In Gujarat, we should not require to fill any forms, etc. Again, if you require to renew the your registration, better to apply the 3 months earlier. In the
Yes.
act, it is written that you should apply 1 month before, right? But our advice is that apply
3 months before.
3 months before, because
renewal.
it is a dim renewal, so you should not have faced any problem. So as far as the PCPNDT Act is concerned, it is going very smoothly. But same scenario should be there. Authority are not interpreted in proper way as per the act, because all the gynecologists are knowing this act very well, but authority are still. I had very daily contact with so many authorities, and they have a problem. They phone me, but again, their interpretation is not in a proper way. So our gynecologists and our friends are really suffering some harassment. But ultimately, my humble advice and to all the friends that you should follow whatever they written the act. You should fill the form F, whatever they written in the act. You should fill the 2 forms, right? 1 form should be submitted, 1 form should be with your reference slip, report, and all the things should be kept for the 2 years, right? That is a normal. If you see the form, it is very easy to fill, etc. So better, anyone have a problem, definitely Dr. Niranjan and Kamal Madam, you can give my number. I will always, like MC Patel and Dr. Balkes are always with the Foxy friend. Definitely will go advise totally free whenever they needed.
Thank you, Dr. Rajnikant. Dr.
should
MC
I,
Patel, your
Niranjan?
comment? Yes, sir. Your comments, please.
Due to strict implementation of PCPNDT Act in beginning, now figures are getting improved. So government is also pleased and not harassing doctor as they harassed in past. So number of cases, number of search, number of seizures, number of issuing notices, they have reduced nowadays. So it is a little easier for gynecologists. But rightly said by Dr. Rajni, that interpretation on part of appropriate authority differs from authority to authority, and many a times in the same authority from time to time. So it is very difficult one. But as compared to past, it has become little liberal one as far as implementation is concerned.
पटेल सर, ये तूफान के पहले की शांतता है क्या? पता नहीं, because when it comes to PCPNDT, when it comes to that, I always get nightmares about PCPNDT. So now that everything seems to be quiet, is it really quiet? I mean, should you take it easy now when it comes to PCPNDT?
No, it depends upon the district also. In a district in which figures are improving very fast, they are little more liberal. If I can quote district of Dang, in district Dang, male to female is more than 1,000. 1,000 male, female more than 1,000. So in those districts, appropriate authority is not so strict. But if it is less than 900, or if it is less than near 800 rather, then naturally there will be pressure on part of that appropriate authority from government, central government also. And then that appropriate authority will have to work and react in that way. And so they are strict as far as search is concerned, seizure is concerned. or filling up the forms or inaccuracy in record, etc. So it depends from for district also in which figures are improving.
No, absolutely. I think a lot of efforts have been taken by Foxy, and I would like to thank Dr. Rajnikant, Dr. Dilip Warke, and MC Patel sir, and all, and of course Dr. Jaideep and Prakash Trivedi sir. I think he was at the helm of affairs, and a lot of efforts were done. And as a result, it was Tanushri. We are not winding up. Don't worry. There are many questions to be there, but we are always there to see you. There is no problem. Thank you. So now we move on from PCPNDT, from MTP Act, we go ahead to the POSCO Act. Now, now this is the actual problem which we gynecologists have been found with problems. And the next question I will deal with murder 302 charge and 304 charge, which Dilip Warke would also, briefly tell us about. There is one case going on. But before that, sir, we would like to come to POSCO Act. Welcome, Dr. Varsha Lahade. We can see her. She is also from Nasik, a very important person in Foxy, the president of Nasik Obstetric Gynecological Society. She is also the chair of AMOG's, medical legal committee. We also want her opinion. So coming back to the important POSCO Act, sir. Sir, MC Patel, I want you to tell what are the experiences which you have got in your 35 to 40 years of practice, especially in the last 5 years regarding POSCO Act. Please shed some light.
So as far as POXO is concerned, it was enacted in 2012, and there were some amendment in 2019 also, and some strict implementation were done in 2019. And particularly when victim is less than 16 years, then imprisonment was increased up to lifetime imprisonment. And if she is less than 12, then imprisonment up to lifetime, and many times death sentence is also avoided in this type of situation. So these were the amendment in 2019. But in total, as far as POXO Act is concerned, and we gynecologist friends, when we are dealing with this type of cases, irrespective of whether she is pregnant or not, during our history taking or during our examination, if we come to know that she is a victim of sexual assault and she is minor, less than 18, we are under obligation to inform police or CWC, that is Child Welfare Committee. It is very much must. And under section 21 of POXO, if we fail to inform, then there is a provision of 6 months imprisonment, and no gynecologist can afford that. So that is why we should be very careful, very vigilant whenever we are dealing with any case less than 18 years of age. And if at all we come to know that she is a case of sexual assault.
Okay. Now, in such cases, when the patient comes to our hospital, we are taking the history. She gives alleged. Most of these girls who are coming, sir, they change their history. They will tell at say 6 p.m. that they were assaulted by an unknown person. Next day morning, they will go and tell that no, it is a known person. Third day, they will say something else. So this change of history also is very important for us to understand, and because sometimes they are tutored by their guardians, whoever is there, or they are probably in fear to express because of the psychological trauma they have undergone and physical trauma which they have undergone. So how do you deal with such statements which change? Dr. MC Patel, sir.
Yes, sir. It is to me, yes. So it doesn't make much difference as far as legal proceeding is concerned, because whichever history she gives, but on examination or on our interrogation or finding any evidence that it can lead to prove that it is a case of sexual assault, then it is enough, because it is all likely that she may change her statement. But changing that statement, that will be a purview of police to interpret and to arrest that very person who is accused. So it doesn't mean, but as far as our role is concerned, we have to opine whether she is a victim of sexual assault or not. Let me put in a simple way. Say, for example, many times minor girl is brought by her mother with complaint of vaginal discharge. And on examination and doing investigation, we come to know that she is a case of sexually transmitted disease. And during interrogation, many times patient gives history of exposure to her boyfriend. So even if she has not complained, her mother has not also complained, but during our course of our examination and course of our treatment, we come to know, or we came to know, that she is a case of sexual assault. Then we have to inform police. So this is very tricky situation. It is not necessary that she should be pregnant or not. She is not pregnant, then also she could be a victim, and we
Yes.
have to inform.
So it is very important. And Dr. Dilip Warke, I want to ask you one more question. Do we ask Aadhaar card of the patient to confirm her age?
Yeah, actually, I mean, there is nothing mentioned in the act that you should ask for it, but the onus of proving, suspecting whether she is more than 18 or less than 18 is ultimately upon us. So it's a good practice to ask for Aadhaar card. Now, Aadhaar card is asked for everything. In my hospital, it is compulsory that in the OPD, even if they're coming for any OPD, that person may be 80-year-old. But then we ask for Aadhaar card. See, initially there was a knee-jerk reaction. ये क्या आप लोगों ने शुरू किया है?
Why are you asking this?
Yeah, but then when it goes in the muscle memory, now everybody knows that if you want to go to MediPoint Hospital, then at the counter they ask for Aadhaar card. So they bring that Aadhaar card, and even if they have not got it, then I tell them आपके कोई relative को घर भेजो और Aadhaar card लगेगा, आगे के documentation के लिए लगेगा. So that is one thing. And another thing that I want to add about the POXO Act, even if somebody comes for your antenatal care, she is married, but she is less than 18 and she came for antenatal care, it is your duty to inform the police, because when she became pregnant, she was less than 18 years of age. Even if she is 18 years and 2 months by age, but she is 5 months pregnant, it means that when she became pregnant, she was less than 18. So that is rape, whether she is married or whether it was a consensual sex. Your duty is to inform the police. Now, it is very easy to say for me or you to say, because we are practicing in Pune and Mumbai. But what about those of our FOXY members who are practicing in periphery, where marriages before 18 years of age is very common? So now this is a problem that we have to fight. So FOXY level, we have to fight for this, that how can you inform police for every antenatal case where the lady is going to be less than 18 years of age. So these are some of the problems that we at the FOXY level will have to fight out. And MC Patel is there.
Rightly said by Dr. Dilip, because as far as POXO is concerned, irrespective of her marital status, if she is less than 18, it becomes a case of POXO, even with her husband. So there are so many districts in Maharashtra, in Gujarat, and in other states also, where early marriage before 18 years of age are common. And in this type of situation, many a times, patient is brought by the relative for antenatal checkup, not for termination of pregnancy or nothing. Antenatal checkup, many a times for delivery, for cesarean section. But in this type of situation, whenever you found that she is less than 18, or if she is more than 18, but at the time of conception, she was less than 18, then also it becomes a case of POXO and you are under obligation to inform police. But in recent judgment, of course, I am waiting for that copy. But in Supreme Court has a very good observation that if marriage life is more than 1 year and patient is minor, then doctor need not to inform police. But I am waiting for the copy of that judgment. And if it is there, then it will be some relief to our Foxian friends.
Yes.
If she is married since more than 1 year, and if she is less than 18, no need to inform police.
Which means, Dr. MC Patel, what the Supreme Court is saying, if you want to marry at the age of, before the age of 17, and then become pregnant. यानी और भी छोटे इसमें शादी करो, 1 साल रुको and then become pregnant. So
Yes.
I mean, this is going to be a little confusing.
That is the
No,
dichotomy
as
of
far
the
as Dilip, marriage before
judgment.
18 years. No, marriage before 18 years, it is not illegal. It is irregular. In eye of law, it is irregular and it is voidable if any partner wishes to quit this marriage relationship. So
fine,
it is irregular marriage.
मैं बोल रहा हूँ that is all okay, but what Supreme Court ये अगर judgment आया तो basically what Supreme Court is telling all those people in Maharashtra who are getting married before the age of 18, उनको ये बता रहे आपकी शादी जल्दी करो, 1 साल कुछ मत करो और 1 साल के बाद प्रेग्नेंट हो जाओ, फिर आप 15 years में भी प्रेग्नेंट हो जाओ.
Yes,
So
there could be interpretation that way also.
Smart lawyers will help our patients there also. So
Like Dilip Walke.
Not like me. I don't practice birth.
I want opinion. Thank you so much, sir. Very relevant points you have taken. I want opinions from Dr. Rajendra Tiwari, though he is very busy in his consulting. We can see him. Dr. Rajendra, can you hear us, please? Dr. Rajendra, yes, we want your opinion about POSCO Act and your experience which you have gone through of some cases.
Sir, regarding POXO Act, can I speak now?
Yes.
Yeah,
sir, regarding POXO Act, I'm working in a predominantly tribal area of the Palghar district. So there are various sources of law. One source of law is custom. Here is the custom of marriage before 18 years is very common. I go to government also for human development index camps, wherein the antenatal cards are made by the government of a woman or girl who are 16-year-old, and they don't take the cognizance. So if we take cognizance, the entire community goes against us, because that boy is also not wanting and the girl is also not wanting to go to the police, because there is unnecessary harassment. That boy gets arrested. So I think if the living in relationship has been allowed, as sir was telling, there is a court judgment which says the living in relationship itself is a marriage. South in Madras Court, High Court judgment it was. And there are various other Supreme Court judgments also. So the custom and law and whatever the ongoing processes, because even if you inform to the police come, they take the statement and they close the file. They don't move the file ahead. Because so many cases are coming to us. So now my question to the esteemed panelists is, if the patient goes to a government setup, another government setup, and another gynecologist, and she comes to me, a fourth gynecologist I am sitting. So is it my duty to take the cognizance, or already the government has seen which is a superior authority, they are not taking the cognizance? So is it, how much onus I have to take the cognizance?
You have the onus.
Government will likha rehta.
You have the
How
onus.
much?
Because I can tell you of one case wherein, please, my MC sir, please go ahead.
No, you continue, then I will.
No, I just wanted to inform the whole delegates about one case wherein sonography was done on a lady who was less than 18 years of age. Now she was 17 years of age. Sonography was done. Sonologist ne inform nahi kiya. Then it came to another sonologist. That sonologist also did. Usne bhi inform nahi kiya. Then she comes to a gynecologist. Gynecologist informed the police. Now the police is after these two sonologists also. So अगर आपने inform किया, your duty is to inform. फिर उन लोगों ने किया नहीं किया, वो that is another thing. And I can understand, Dr. Tiwari, your problem, and that is exactly the reason why I feel Foxy should do some sort of an advocacy to save our members like you. It is going to be very difficult for you to practice in a Adivasi area with this becomes a hurdle in your practice.
So Dilip, a story which you narrated, it happened in city of Mumbai only.
Yeah, Mumbai. Yeah.
In city of Mumbai only.
Yeah.
But as far as Dr. Tiwari is concerned, whichever number of person who is attending, third, fourth, he is under obligation to inform police. Whether prior 3 persons who examine patient has informed police or CWC, it is not our lookout. We have to inform. If at all we come across to see any type of patient less than 18 and having any sign of sexual assault.
Yes. So I think regarding POSCO Act, it is very important. In short, you have to inform the police if there is a discrepancy of the age. To be on the safer side, better have an Aadhaar card, even though it is not mentioned in the Act. so that you are still on the safer side. Tomorrow, if any issue comes up, you have all the proofs that when the patient had come, she had told that she was 18 years of above. This is her Aadhaar card and this is the document. Now, whether that Aadhaar card is forged or whether it is counterfeit or something, that is not your lookout. But this is very important and you have to inform the police. And it is your obligatory duty. Otherwise, you will come into problems. Now we move on to the most worst scenario which a gynecologist is facing in Maharashtra. Most of you might be knowing the case. It is regarding a matter which has come to light where a maternal mortality has occurred and the police have put not attempt of murder charge, but the charge of murder. I hope you are aware of this case, Dilip sir.
Yeah, I'm aware of it, but I think let's involve some other panelists also into this,
Yes,
because
yes.
this is a very new case, and I think there are other panelists also. Please involve them, and MC and I are there.
And the matter is sub judice.
Yeah.
So obviously the matter is going in the court, and there has been also a request from the president of that society particular. I do not want to name any particular person, but generally such situation has never arisen. I want your comments on this, Dr. MC Patel sir. Can a doctor be charged with a murder in a maternal mortality case?
Usually cannot, because
302 part B.
Yes, yes. Let me clear with 3 words only: intention, knowledge, and care. So it is very clear in law under section 299, 302, etc., that anybody inflicts any injury to anybody with intention to cause death, then it becomes a case of murder. If anybody has knowledge that whenever he inflicts any injury to anybody, it is sufficient to cause death in ordinary course of nature, so he has knowledge. So it becomes a case of culpable homicide, not amounting to murder, and it is section 304. And any death due to rash and negligence, it becomes a section 304A. So usually in our practice, section 304A should be applied. There was interpretation in so many cases on part of Supreme Court also. But in that very case, which you referred in, which happened in state of Maharashtra only, court has taken cognizance of section 299 subsection C. And it is very dangerous thing. And even if it was not intentional, then also court has informed police to make a charge sheet as far as intentional act is concerned. So this is very serious matter. But this case should be well fought, because I don't think there should be any adverse judgment against doctor if this case is fought very nicely. Because no doctor has any intention to injure or intention or to any patient to injure or to cause death.
As
so if we can prove,
I'll make it very simple, Niranjan, because when the lawyers talk now, वो culpable homicide and वगैरह वगैरह बोलते हैं, अपना यहाँ ऊपर से चला जाता है. आपको है ना, मैं explain करता हूँ. One is, it is 302 is just not done. I mean, when you are doing a surgery and the patient dies, it cannot be. Nobody wants the patient to be killed unless it is proved in the court of law. And as Dr. MC Patel says, in this case, 302 तो applicable होता नहीं. It has to be well fought because no doctor has an intention to kill. जैसे डॉक्टर ने बोला, 3 चीजें देखनी है: इंटेंशन, कंडक्ट, इंटेंशन एंड नॉलेज. राइट नाउ आपके पास, आप जब ऑपरेट करते हो और पेशेंट मर गया, कंडक्ट इज देयर. yes, conduct is there. Intention is there.
No,
there is no intention. Knowledge is there.
Yes.
अभी इसमें प्रॉब्लम आता है, because if there is no intention but conduct and knowledge, then it is 304 part B. लेकिन पुलिस क्या बोलता है, आप तो डॉक्टर है, आपको तो नॉलेज रहता है हर इसका, तो इसके लिए व्हाट दे से, या आपका इंटेंशन नहीं था पेशेंट को मारने का, लेकिन आपके पास कंडक्ट है, आपके सर्जरी से पेशेंट मर गया और आपको नॉलेज है बॉडी के बारे में, पेशेंट ये करने से मर सकता है, वो करने से मर सकता है. इसके लिए व्हाट दे वर डूइंग इज mischievously they were putting us inside under 304 part B. The typical Salman Khan case. सलमान खान ने दारू पी के गाड़ी चलाया, पेशेंट रास्ते पे लोग मर गए. सलमान खान का कंडक्ट था, यस, उसने दारू पी के गाड़ी चलाई. सलमान खान का इंटेंशन था क्या? नहीं था. बट सलमान खान को नॉलेज था क्या? या सलमान खान had the knowledge that somebody can die if I am going to drive a car when I am alcoholic. So 304B was applied, wherein punishment is more 10 years, it is non-bailable, vagara, vagara. But in our case, it is conduct. There is no intention. We are only knowledgeable about the anatomy and physiology of the human body, but we had no knowledge that hum ye surgery karenge to patient mar jayega. So this is the catch, and every time somebody gets arrested under 304 Part B, please contact people like Dr. MC Patel or Dr. Gitendra Sharma or anybody from Foxy level. We can talk to the policeman and impress upon him that if at all you want to arrest the doctor, it is under 304 Part A, which means it is bailable and you will get the bail from the police station itself and you will come back home. 302 to lag hi nahi sakta because there is no intention.
Yes.
But unfortunately, 302 has been put as per the judgment in this case.
Sir, ये होते रहता है, and that is the reason why the strength of Foxy is what will work here. हमारे कोई member को 302 अगर apply किया, तो we all are there at 2 a.m. in the morning. We will be there and we'll rush to help.
Absolutely. So we are helping the Foxy member in that situation. Dr. Gitendra Sharma is the present medico-legal consultant also and the vice president. So we have taken his opinion. There are other opinions also which are there. I think these people have appealed also for this getting the bail, etc. So I think we are going in the proper direction and hopefully the thing should be turning in our favor. Last one word from each of the panelists. I would request you how to have a safe practice. What would be your guidance to them, each our members? We have got today, I have come to know that we have 100 registrations which are live and 120 views are there on the YouTube plus on the YouTube channel of Dr. Komal. So we will be having approximately 450 members who will be there around, and they are going to see in the next few days also over a period of time. So one last liner from each one of the panelists, esteemed panelists, how safe can you make your practice? And so that you do not come in any issues of...
Dr. Niranjan, please give me the chance. My take home message to the whole is that whatever the written in the act, you should follow. Don't feel any sympathy in the patient, because this patient will also sue you. So whatever the written in the act, you should follow it and make the each and every minute in a documentation. If your documentation is perfect,
documentation.
Yeah, that whatever you had done, suppose in the MTP, PNDT, whatever it is. So you should have to make the documentation is perfect, and that will definitely, if something is going wrong, that will also save you whenever if there's some court matter is there. Thank you, Dr. Niranjan.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. MC Patel. Your one-liner for safe.
So it is very, very important to comply with the provision of law. Whenever you are practicing either abortion services, sonography services, and with this newer act of ART and surrogacy, so whichever practice you are practicing, you should strictly adhere to the provision of law, whichever provisions are pertaining to that very practice. Your center should be registered, you should be qualified one. You should not cross your limit. Whichever practice you can and you should. To cross limit becomes very dangerous many times in few of the cases. And just rightly said by Radni also, patients may go hostile anytime. So, of course, we are here to help any of our patients, but not at the cost of our safety. So, it should be very clear. Be helpful to any of your patients, but not at the cost of your safety.
Thank you. Well worded one-liner, sir. Now I move on to Dr. Dilip Warke, sir.
I mean, there was one advice that was given to me by Dr. Sancheti, who is a Padma Shri and an orthopedician in Pune. He said, डोक्यावर बर्फ आणि तोंडात Sakar.
Sakar.
So yeah, so this is an art of communication. If
Oh
you
my
know and I can tell you there have been complications in in some of the hospitals where the wrong foot was operated. There I can tell you about one case that instead of operating on the right eye, left eye was operated. But that doctor communicated with the patient so well, and he told that पहिलं हे नीट करायचं, नंतरच हे नीट करायचं असतं. So all that you have to understand and you have to learn is the art of communication. If you learn that, then कुछ भी करने की जरूरत नहीं. Then people like MC Patel and Gitendra Sharma will be out of business. अगर हमारा communication अच्छा होगा. But otherwise, अगर अपना communication ठीक नहीं है, and if you are not following the protocols and you are not following what Dr. Rajni contractor told us, that you are not following the act, you are not following the protocols, you are not doing safe practice, then in that case you have to have the numbers of Dr. MC Patel and Dr. Gitendra Sharma. उनसे दोस्ती करना बहुत जरूरी है.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think it's very important. So documentation, documentation, and documentation, communication.
Now we say that communication of documentation and documentation of communication also.
So Dilip, we go like this. There are three things not to end up into medical legal problem. One, court and law expect from us foreseeability. So you should anticipate certain things. Say, for example, if you are dealing with a case of central placenta previa, naturally one should anticipate that she may go into PPH.
And
she may require blood
hysterectomy.
transfusion.
Yes.
She may require obstetric hysterectomy also. So accordingly, you have to counsel the patient, and whatever you have done, you have to record. You have a document, and so if your documentation is proper, so when you counsel patient, it becomes a communication, and when you take signature on consent paper, it becomes a documentation of your communication. Because in famous case of C. Jaipal Reddy versus Padmini Velluri, National Commission has very specifically mentioned that consent is not mere piece of paper where patient has to sign or relative has to sign, but it is a very important document of your communication, of your counseling. So whatever you have communicated, whatever you have counseled, all these points should be entered in consent paper, and then patient has to sign. And if you have taken consent like this, you are safe. So once you take signature on consent paper, it becomes a documentation of your communication. And when you offer all those paper in court of law, it becomes a documentation of your communication. So it is very important. Communication, documentation, documentation of your communication, and communication of your documentation.
So really, Niranjan, the last word is, if you really want to put the Dr. MC Patel and Gitendra Sharma out of business, all you have to do is go on www.foxy.org, download the Foxy Uniform Consent, and start using those consents and start counseling with the patient as per the points mentioned in that consent, and then that is enough. Right?
Yes. There is a book,
just to mention
there is
in
a
a brief,
book which has been authored by Dr. Dilip Warke, Dr. Hitendra Sharma, Dr. Gitendra, and all
basically Dr. Nikhil Datar, myself, and MC Patel.
Niranjan,
yes,
on
sir.
Foxy website, Foxy uniform consents are available. Dr. Nikhil Datar, Mumbai, Dr. Dilip Walke, Pune, and myself, Dr. MC Patel, Ahmedabad, we three people at the time of Dr. Alpesh Gandhi's presidency have prepared almost 30 different consents. Say, for example, cesarean section, hysterectomy, abdominal, vaginal, endoscopy, termination of pregnancy, medical method, surgical method, consent for anesthesia, consent for blood transfusion, consent for even normal labor, we have also prepared. And when you are referring patient to higher center, we have taken that part also into consideration. And we have taken page of famous case of Samira Kohli versus Prabha Manchanda. So whichever valid criteria for any consent to be valid, criteria laid down by Supreme Court in that case, we have taken consideration of all those points, and we have prepared this consent in two parts. Part one is information, and part two is undertaking on part of patient. So once you get it signed, everything is written in that consent in detail, because Supreme Court expect from us that consent should be operation specific or procedure specific. It cannot be blanket consent.
So thank you so much. I can go on and on. When you give a mic to medical legal consultant, he doesn't leave the mic. Remember that. Because they are true friends of Foxy, they are true friends of gynecologists. Always remember, in your area of practice, in whichever area you are practicing, always have friends in medical legal fraternity, in the police, in the administration, in the bureaucracy. And Dr. Nikhil Datar has arrived just at the end when we want him, when his name came. He has come, and I'm really grateful to him. Lot of judgments regarding MTP has turned over, lot of petitions. We all have been a part of this journey. And Nikhil Datar is our face, not only in MOGS, but in Foxy. And we are very proud of all of you members who have been there. Nikhil, I hope you might be hearing this. And I can tell you the task series which has been started in 2021 under the aegis of AGOG. Aegis of AGOG is Academy of Global Obstetricians and Gynecologists, started in 2019 with the blessings and patronization of 6 patrons from the 6 continents. We have Dr. C.N. Purandare sir from ours, from Europe. We have our European friends who are there from Australia. Atul, Mr. Rane is there. From Europe, we have the RCOG. From Latin America, we have Ivona, and from USA and Canada, we have got Jean Condre, and from Africa, we have Madam Annie. So all these things have come together, and that's why we are going. This has been broadcasted all over the world. Nikhil Datar, before we wind up, I want your opinion and statement, one-liner about safe practice in obstetrics and gynecology. What should be done by the gynecologist to be safe? Nikhil.
So I think I will answer this literally in one single sentence, and that sentence is documentation, communication, and not going beyond the safe practice guidelines.
Know your limits.
So each one of our know your limits.
Know your limits.
Are set. The limits are either set by your own national bodies who come through certain policies, certain practice guidelines, and even as an individual, it is always a good idea to know your own limits as an individual and unnecessarily not venture beyond that. Take help of the colleagues in the right situation at the right time, and basically be safe than later on being sorry.
So absolutely great to have all of you. I can see the task series which is coming up to end now, medical legal aspects and midlife crisis, midlife management. We had the largest number of members today attending the medical legal panel with such a big luminaries from all over India sharing their experiences. This can go on and on, but we need to stop now. I have not taken into consideration the new ART bill and its issues. We will consider that next time, but I think we have covered most of the program. I would like to hand over the mic now to Dr. Tanushri Pandey, who is very happy now that the panel has come to an end. She is a very big Instagram influencer. You should go through. Now we have gynecologists who are Instagram influencers. They have followers to 15K, 14K, 22K. But that's the amazing power of social media. I hope one day your patients do not use your Instagram bites against you. So whatever you do in the domain of law, and see that the best things, best practices is to be done. This is, I would like to just have a word to all of you. I have got so many members and I'm very proud of you. The younger generation is using the Instagram model. They are using the Facebook Live. But remember one thing, whatever you are documenting now, whatever the live feeds which are going on, it should not go against you. So that's very important. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. It's an absolute honor to see you just take the whole panel so beautifully as if you had just prepared it. Thank you for coming in the last minute. It was an absolute pleasure to hear you and all the dignitaries. Thanks a lot, sir. I especially take this opportunity to thank all the dignitaries who've been taking out time today and have been a part of this Task M series. Komal ma'am is slightly caught up in an emergency, and that's why she has not been able to wrap up. But sir is with us, and on behalf of ma'am, I just want to thank all our dignitaries, our chief guest, Dr. Suchitra Pandit ma'am, our guests of honor, Dr. Mandakini Meg ma'am, and Dr. Pushpa Sethi ma'am, and all our other dignitaries. Thank you so much for taking out time this evening and making this such a success.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Komal, you are traveling. Would you like to say something?
Yes, I'm on my way and I'm really happy. Thank you so much. It was a lovely panel. I was glued to it, listening it while I am on my way. And thank you so much, Dr. Dilip Palke sir, Dr. MC Patel sir, Dr. Nikhil Datar for joining in, Dr. Rajendra Tiwari, Dr. Rajnikant Contractor sir, and Dr.
Rajendra.
who joined. And last minute, Dr. Niranjan Chavan, you have done wonders. I think it was just 1 minute when the panel was about to start, we got a message, and I think you have just done it as if you were prepared. And I can see Dr. Ratnabali madam also there till the end. I thank her for excellent talk. It was such a lovely talk. When you hear from such experts, your all concepts become. So I think we have real great take-home message by each and every faculty who had joined today. Thank you, Dr. Ratnabali madam and Dr.
So I think we have network issue here, and I would also like to see, I can see Maninder Ahuja. Hello, ma'am. She was my vice president when I was a chair about 10 years, 11 years back. Dr. Rajendra Nagarkatti, a very busy practitioner and the clinical secretary of MOGS, the past chair of Midlife Crisis Committee. And of course, I would like to thank all of you. Tanushri, also, you are doing wonders. Thank you. And last but not the least, the audience who have made this possible. And we have the Shield Connect, the faculty who have been there, the Shield Connect team. All of them have been amazing. We have been having an amazing journey. So see you soon. I also welcome you, all of you, to AICOG Mumbai 2025. We will be rocking in Mumbai. And we will see you soon there also. Thank you so much. Bye. Have a nice.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.